From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
TGIF, welcome to the program. Well, will it be decision day? We'll get to that in just a little bit. Here's a Hurley in the Morning pledge, and I should say projection, that has come through. It has come true. The State of the Union address of Joe Biden, that the Democrat media just, and you knew, and I tried to convey in a way that was not just sounding partisan, sounding like, oh my God, he's never allowed to do anything that's good. It just always has to be bad. No, we call balls and strikes. I mean, that's my training. I'm an official. And I saw the speech, and the speech was terrible, and it was divisive. And oh my gosh, there's so much data now, and the American people have processed it exactly the right way. Exactly as it is, which really goes to show you, and I think it bodes well for the next 8 months, because you could not receive more voluminous and more perfectly glowing coverage than Joe Biden received. I mean, it was over the top in terms of its just gushing. I mean, utterly dishonest, but gushing coverage. Well, the American people didn't receive the speech very well at all. This is a Harris-Forbes poll. I would call it a Democrat poll. It's registered voters, not likely voters. So the numbers are even worse in reality than what I'm going to share with you. 60% of respondents said that Biden's speech served to divide the country, not unify it. Didn't do anything to boost his numbers. If you look at Harris X Forbes, if you look at YouGov, Yahoo, Rasmussen, Morning Consult, 538, I went to all of them. In the 538 polling averages, Biden's approval rating has dropped to 37 percentile. There's no good news. 5 days were taken off. Who knows? Magical kabuki juice. I don't know what. Infusions. Vitamins. Go-go juice. Who knows? 5 days off. And not only did he not move the needle in his favor, it went downward. And this is despite millions and millions of dollars of free. It's the best kind of advertising, because if you pay for an ad, people know, it's a paid ad. When it disguises as news coverage, that's altogether different. No bump. What a surprise. What a surprise. I mentioned Decision Day, and I have my fingers crossed, because later today, and you'll be able to find me, later today, we'll be going national for 3 hours, and I think Scott McAfee is going to come out with this decision today. And no matter which way he goes, it's going to be fascinating to be able to talk about it. Let's just say hypothetically he removes Willis and Wade, which is what it is, the right thing. Let's say he does that. Well, that's going to be a hell of a conversation, because I'm going to tell you, I'll give you an advance. See, I have to prepare for two different diametrically opposite realities. I can't just go into it preparing for one. I've got to prepare for both, which is no problem. But that's, those are the times we live in because you can't count on anything anymore. Anybody that watched the days and days and days of coverage, there's no way you should keep people on a case like this. We shouldn't even be guessing, wondering, oh my gosh, is it a close call? It could go either way. Really? But let's say Scott McAfee removes them. Well, I'll report that. And then the next thing I'm going to say, and the reason I'm saying this prospectively is I don't think it's going to happen while we're on air live until 10:06 this morning. I don't suspect that. I think it'll be a later in the day kind of thing. Might even be in the last hour of what we'll be doing. We'll see. He might not do it at all. I mean, he's ultimately going to do it, but he might not do it today. But he said he was going to do it. And then yesterday or the day before, he came out with that he's on pace to do it by when he said. So that would be today. And if he rules that Willis and Wade are out, I think the case, I don't care what Scott McAfee says, they can't participate, but the case goes on. Previously, he can say that he threw out 6 of the charges, which he felt did not give the defendants the opportunity. So you cannot be charged with something that it's not readily apparent what you're charged with because you can't defend yourself. This is why this Fat Bragg case, he's got some super secret, goofy secret thing that nobody knows what it is. Well, how do you charge people with stuff they don't know what they don't know what they're charged with, and then say, oh yeah, the trial starts next week? This is Star Chamber crazy stuff. That's why Fat Bragg is saying, oh, I'll wait a month. He's the guy asking because they just hit Trump with like 750,000 documents. Now, here's another thing that Trump should be able to do. There are rules of evidence. And don't quote me, but I think it's something like 15 days they have to produce evidence. Well, they've had this evidence for months. Months and months. So Trump should be able to say, look, this evidence wasn't turned over. We can't, defend ourselves. It's going to be very interesting, all of this. But getting back to Fani Willis and Scott McAfee and Nathan Wade, if McAfee bags them, you're going to see the reporting is going to turn to that the whole case is collapsing. Do you realize, and this is really kind of delicious irony, and I normally don't wish for bad news for anybody, but I make an exception here because these are reprehensible, in my opinion, just filthy, dirty people. But it's very likely in my mind that Fani Willis has a bigger problem than President Trump has. I mean, you're going to see Jim Jordan has given Fani Willis a reasonable period of time. It's not long to respond, or she's getting subpoenaed. The Congress is going after her. Charges should absolutely be filed for her testimony and then evidence that's come out since her testimony. Now let's say, and we'll talk about this on the other side of the break, and then I have to tell you, get ready, because I'm tearing in to Chuck Schumer coming up after we finish this topic. That'll be in the next segment. If McAfee rules that Willis and Wade can stay, that's what we'll talk about after the break. Because I'm telling you, politically, that's better for Trump. That's why I said yesterday, very briefly, and said we would talk more about it today. Trump can't lose here. It doesn't, and I'm telling you, it doesn't always go this way. But he has no look. It's terrible. The money, the time, the effort, having to defend yourself, the stress. These are criminal charges, after all. So I'm not saying this lightly. But Trump has no bad options. Think about it. If the judge bags them and knocks them out, that's great. If he doesn't knock them out, it's also great news, and I'll explain when we come back. It is the Hurley in the Morning program. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a little bit. We have a great program in store for you. A lot more for me this hour, you next hour. Atlantic City, Dateline Atlantic City with Councilman George Tibbett at 8, and a well-earned Hurley in the Morning official mental health break, or the acronym HIMOMHB. That's coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll be back.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 is proud to introduce our new weekend talk show lineup with more opinions and more opportunities to make your voice heard. Our new shows include Eat, Drink, Smoke with Tony Katz, The Weekend with Michael Brown, Intelligent Medicine with Dr. Ronald Hoffman, The Money Pit Home Improvement Show, Expanded Financial Advice from Dave Ramsey, Ben Ferguson, and more. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 is South Jersey's talk station all weekend long.
Fox News commentary.
TikTok is on the chopping block, but is this a good thing? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Success. It's discipline, it's teamwork, it's the drive and confidence and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best of each of us made better by the best in all of us. It's what Stifel has been doing for over 130 years. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management and investment banking firms in the industry. Stifel, where success meets success. Find a financial advisor at stifel.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
TikTokers are in a tizzy after a bipartisan coalition of representatives bonded together to pass a bill that may send the Chinese-owned app to the digital graveyard. But should we trust that our leaders have pure intentions, or could this be another notch on their tyranny belt? The plight of the TikTok influencers is not my concern, but here's what is. If Congress grants the government the authority to pick, choose, stifle, stipulate, or even ban an app or platform, where does it end? Sure, now it's being billed as a mechanism to limit communist China's influence, and I agree with that premise. But what's next? Do the government overlords then come after X and Elon? Do they classify other free speech platforms unfriendly to their narrative as bad actors and force a sale? Folks, I have no love for TikTok, but does this move just embolden the government tyrants and put our free speech in even more jeopardy? Food for thought. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG. Hurley in the Morning.
They stick to the facts.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 24 minutes past the hour. All right, so the Scott McAfee sweepstakes, because it's very simple. I don't think it's going to be incredibly nuanced. It's either going to be that he rules that that his interpretation of Georgia law, which I know they keep ambiguous on purpose because it's just, this county is, in particular, Fulton County, just extremely Democrat corrupt. It's awful. So he's got, unfortunately, he can blah, blah, blah this. He's got a lot of, flexibility, I think, unfortunately. I like things to be much more unambiguous. But this is very ambiguous because one person's reading of it says that there must be a conflict of interest. And another person could read it and come out and say, I believe what it says is that the appearance of a conflict. So you know the difference between something that is or something that could be. The standard of could be is a lot less than, it's almost the difference between may or shall. Shall means you must, may means if you don't want to, you don't have to. And this is the language that they use, and it's all on purpose. So he's either going to rule that Willis and Wade can stay or Willis and Wade must go. I don't care after they must go. I don't care how he soft soaps it. And I believe he will soft soap it. Not saying they've done anything wrong. Didn't, make any determination on truthfulness, blah, 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 blah. But the appearance is such that perhaps a reasonable person would say that the defendant or defendants might not get a fair trial because of this. And look, this will be devastating to the Willis-Wade partnership, if you will, because she's making it possible for Wade to have big contracts in a field that I told you from the beginning that I wouldn't hire that guy to be my attorney for anything. But I'm not even getting into his capabilities in terms of certain disciplines, aspects of, handling legal matters. But in terms of areas such as this, you couldn't expect him to do a good job because he had never done anything like that before. Now, look, there are some people, they're just incredibly talented, and the first time they do something, they do it extraordinarily well. I don't sense that that's the case with Nathan Wade. He was unimpressive as a witness. I found him to be incredible. I didn't believe a lot of the things he was saying. If I were a juror in a case, anything he would say, I would almost not believe and run the other way. But it's going to be interesting to see what this judge does, because Trump has a strategy. No matter what he does, I think they're going to be okay. I'd much rather them get removed because it would be the right thing to do. And then maybe McAfee says, in addition to that he thinks and may order that there would be a change in venue. Because even though they're gone, these are all the people that defended them to stay. So can Trump get a fair trial? And there's 17 or 18 other people, but just to keep it simple, can Trump get a fair trial from the leftovers? If they're all stored in the same Tupperware container, and if the main entree is spoiled, they left it out for too long, and the bacteria has started to grow, well, then how will the side dishes that are stored in the same container and that were also left out to spoil, you like that analogy? I do. How will they be able to do the case? So this has nothing to do. It's obvious that I support President Trump, but I'm telling you, I am saying this as dispassionately as I could talk about anything. There's no way that Willis and Wade should be left to stay, and there's no way that this case should remain in Fulton County, Georgia. But look, this is a very partisan, highly Democrat area. This judge is running for re-election. It remains to be seen if he can even win. And if he does this, if he does the right thing, I don't know how Scott McAfee can win. Unless I don't know anything about this talk show host that's running against him, unless that person is just not considered to be serious or acceptable. So as usual, there are so many calculations here. this judge has to make a decision that will have significant ramifications, including his own. So I'm going to still stick to my guns because I just want to believe somehow, some way, good is allowed to prevail. Now, maybe that means at the appellate stage and that it doesn't happen here at this level. I've been telling you that although I've made a projection, it's not, when I'm confident about something, you know it. When I'm not confident about it, you know it. I tell you. I'm not confident about anything that I'm saying about these people because I think they're capable of anything. You've got people that have contributed here to one another, worked for the one. The judge worked for Fani Willis, contributed to Fani Willis. I'm going to make a confident prediction that he's going to do the right thing and bag his former boss that he contributed to. So I don't usually like to appear like I want to have it both ways. But this is impossible to predict. I've been studying this guy, McAfee. He's all over the place. But today could be the day. I hope it is. And again, for me as a talk show host, Trump to have an issue to beat like a drum, the best thing that could happen would be McAfee keeping Willis and Wade. Can you imagine the editorials and the commentaries and the news coverage? Oh my gosh, after all of that testimony. And so many people have said that their relationship began prior to when she appointed him and all of this. And this judge says they can stay? I mean, that is a cornucopia buffet. It's a much more mundane, anticlimactic if he rules that they must go. Then you say, well, of course they have to go. I mean, look at their testimony. Look at the witnesses. Look at all this information that's come in. Look at the cell phone records. Look at the best friend, the girl. Look at the partner and the friend and the former lawyer of Wade and his testimony. So this is one of those occasions where I'm pretty okay. I mean, I want the right thing to happen, which is probably why I'm defaulting to McAfee doing the right thing. But if it goes the other way, we just have more to talk about. And so does Trump. And it will further fuel the two-tiered system of justice. It is literally the Kobayashi Maru is the no-win scenario. This is literally the no-lose scenario. I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that often, because typically which way something goes really, really matters. I don't feel that that's the case in this example. We'll be back.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Hello, I'm Harry Hurley. I have 3 stories right here, right now, that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. All right, I'm not kidding you about this. When house paint cleaned itself in Atlantic City in 1947, a Philadelphia restaurateur has purchased Memories in Margate. Good God. And Procida, that's a man, delivers on a New Jersey project that was stalled for 20 years. It's on the app.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. No real weather danger to beware on the sides of March, just some spotty showers around, and eventually the arrival of cooler air. Best chance for raindrops will be this afternoon into early evening. Mostly cloudy and breezy, high of 70. Clearing skies after midnight tonight will cool down to 43, and tomorrow's high only 59. Cooler but still pleasant, partly sunny and dry. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
This is an important safety.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
I'm from Melissa Township.
Cape May.
I'm from Margate.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. 40 minutes past the hour. Now, on to Chuck Schumer. I don't know what gives him the right to think that he should meddle into another country's affairs when they are in a time of war. I mean, to show you that there are no boundaries with these scumbag Democrats that lead the Democrat Party in our country. And shame on all you so-called good Democrats who know that all of this is wrong because you say nothing. And that makes you an enabler. You will vote for these kinds of people, and it makes you... I'm going to start to say this because I certainly have thought it for a long time. This makes you worse than they are. Remaining silent when you know that something is wrong or continuing to support people that do this kind of thing, it actually makes you worse than they are. I don't even know how you can argue against that logic. Probably somebody's thinking, oh, yeah, he's right. He's right. He just nailed me. Yeah, exactly. How about Senate Majority Leader, and this is a crack up to me because they have something like 46 Democrats or something, but they're the majority. Majority Leader, ha, ha, ha. God, we need this election so bad. And there's so many seats that can turn Republican in the United States Senate. You know, I told you last time that I felt that the House would go Republican and that unfortunately the Senate would stay Democrat, but that it would be very, very close. And boy, a lot of close elections just barely went the other way. Well, Democrats are defending many more seats. I think something like 18 more seats Democrats have to defend this time versus Republicans. So I'm very confident. I feel really good. You know, Trump is running stronger than congressional candidates right now. So he's going to be terrific at the top of the ticket. And I do see, look, I'm a little bit worried. Kari Lake in Arizona. Arizona is really winnable. And, you know, those tapes and everything that she leaked, she taped somebody, the former Republican state chair, and then leaked them. It was real shisty stuff. She didn't have to do that. And I think she's really hurt herself. So Trump leads by like 9 over Biden, and Kari Lake actually trails. So that is another example. I remember years ago, Delaware had Christine O'Donnell. Nevada, instead of picking any number of people, Vince McMahon's ex-wife or current, I forget if she's still married to him or not, but McMahon's wife, I think her name is Linda McMahon. You had the son of Jerry Tarkanian, and then they go and they pick the one that can lose. So Republicans have just been awful in some respects. They should have had the majority in the Senate long ago, but they keep blowing it. I honestly don't think they can blow it this time. And I can't wait because stuff like this, Chuck Schumer, he has called on the great state of Israel to oust their Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. How dare you, during a time of war, meddle, election interfere in such a way? many in Israel have told Chuck Schumer I'll say it as politely as I can, to stick it where the sun doesn't shine. So what? He thinks because he's Jewish, that he can do this kind of thing? What's the entry that he feels comfortable doing something like this? Because he can't be called anti-Semitic? Or what's the story here? Because what an awful, awful thing he has done. And he's been smacked down by many, here and abroad. He said, quote, Israel cannot survive if it becomes a pariah. He said that Netanyahu has, quote, lost his way. No, he hasn't. You're just part of the pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party. Oh, I can't be pro-Hamas. I'm Jewish. Oh, no, you can be pro-Hamas. And you are. What a disgrace. This guy is a hack. He is a career politician. No good, low life. He's creepy looking. He's creepy sounding. And honestly, it won't happen, but he should be formally admonished for what he's done here. He's the pariah, not Netanyahu. Netanyahu is the duly elected prime minister of the state of Israel. What a disgrace. Absolute, utter disgrace. Much more. Hey, surprise when we come back. Joe Biden actually broke his own rules. Interesting. How do you do that? I'll tell you next.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
Get us someone in the White House that's actually going to do something.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
This is Harry Hurley for All Season Solar, our official and exclusive solar energy provider to the Hurley in the Morning program. They design and they install the most attractive, efficient, state-of-the-art solar photovoltaic systems from the world's leading manufacturers. What I love about dealing with All Season Solar, they're your single point of contact. They do the system design, engineering, your building permits, installation, and the ultimate glorious utility connection day. They take care of everything under the sun so that you can sit back and reap the savings. Call Frank Neal today, 609-317-5491. That's Frank Neal, All Season Solar, 609-317-5491. There's never been a better time to go solar. The benefits are there. New Jersey leads the East Coast and second largest in the entire United States in terms of solar energy panel installation. No deposits, no hidden fees, no out-of-pocket costs. All Season Solar. Tell them Hurley in the Morning sent you.
Gear. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
It's well-balanced conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 51 minutes past the hour. So Joe Biden broke his own rules last week. You might recall that during the State of the Union address, and if you missed my opening monologue from about 45, 50 minutes ago, the polling data is out. It's mostly Democrat polls that didn't even poll likely voters, polled registered voters. So the numbers are even worse for Biden than the Democrat polls would yield, but his approval rating has gone down to 37.4%. So after getting, infusions, taking vitamins, taking magic, kabuki juice, whatever they do when he disappears for 5 days and then reemerges all jazzed up, coked up, whatever it is, something's going on. They thought they had such a winner. Oh, they bragged about it. Oh, all of the concerns are dispelled. This was tour de force. This was, you might have thought that speech was the greatest thing, since Abraham Lincoln. Only the people didn't see it that way. And I told you that you're going to have to listen to these Democrat tools lie to you And then I promised you that when the first polling data came out, that Biden's needle would not move upward, that in fact it would move downward, and it did. During that speech, and again, it was not on the teleprompter, and that's the reason why this moment happened. He got goaded into it by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Say her name. Well, and then he went fumbling for the button that she had given him and couldn't even look at the button and pronounce the name correctly. But all of that is secondary to the highest offense that Biden committed. He called the Venezuelan illegal exactly what he is, an illegal. And of course, that all the Democrat crazies, they didn't seem to mind anything except he called the illegal what he is, illegal. Then later on, he had to apologize, and then he said he didn't apologize. But of course he did, because if you say, I shouldn't have called him an illegal, I should have called him undocumented. But even better, though, now their word is newcomer. You got to love that one, even for these scumbags. And I'm not talking about the illegals. I'm talking about these Democrats. Even for them, this one is rich. People that should not be here, that have committed three crimes the moment they step foot in this country, and we're going to call them newcomers. Go look up the meaning of newcomer. It is though we should welcome in some cases, these MS-13 gang members and other horrifically bad people. Venezuelan gang members are coming in. These countries are opening up their prisons and their mental institutions. It's the damage is incalculable. But Biden broke his own rule because back in April of 2021, Joe Biden created a rule which replaces the terms illegal alien with undocumented non-citizen, integration, assimilation. Now it's newcomers. So there you have it. He broke his own rule. And the reason for that is simple. He went off the teleprompter. He reverted back to something that was very normal to say. Barack Obama used the term. Bill Clinton used the term. There was nothing wrong with using the term. The Democrats decided, though, that it's not in their political interest, because after all, if you're supporting illegal immigration, and listen, we know why they want to do it. All they care about, they don't care about burning the house down to rule the ashes. They want power. And what better way than to stack and pack the census? Think about that. And also to stack and pack the Democrat voter registration rolls. That's their goal. And we always told somebody, maybe it won't be, they won't turn out to be Democrats. No, they're going to be Democrats. Just look at the people coming into the country when they get interviewed. And the one guy had the Biden and Harris T-shirt on and said, they have to let me in because look what I'm wearing. Then they get asked, who do you support, Biden or Trump? Every single one. Biden. Biden's flying them into the country now. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands and more. So he broke his own rule. That's pretty interesting, I thought. Oh, well, there's never any price to pay because they're Democrats, of course. This was good, and we need to talk about this. Really, there should be a national conversation about this. And, of course, Democrats are doing it, so they're not going to come along with this discussion. But we've been telling you for a long time that there's something that's called judge shopping that goes on in our country. And it's really bad. It doesn't matter what the case. You know, if it's an abortion case and you're judge shopping, if it's going after a political enemy, it doesn't matter. It does, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is this is across the board. This judge shopping and what I also call, and they haven't, but they need to, jurisdiction shopping. Because look, if they wouldn't even get the charges through a grand jury and they wouldn't even be presented. But if Trump had a trial, and because of the documents being in Florida, part of it will be, but if he had a trial in Florida, he's got a shot. You have a trial in California, in Washington, D.C., New York City. Come on. You have no chance. So that's why they do it. They both, you think there's Engoron and Letitia James and Fat Bragg and Jack Smith. You know, Joe Biden gets Robert Hur, and who exonerates him, and Trump gets Jack Smith, this absolute lunatic, maniac prosecutor. They judge shop and they jurisdiction shop. Your calls are next. 609-407-1450. It's Hurley in the Morning.
GG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. To your calls in just a moment. It's 6 minutes past the hour. Did you know, please don't ask me why they call it this, but did you know that there is a new term called gorilla hail? It hit parts of Kansas and Missouri yesterday, and I saw the size of these things. They're as big as softballs. So can you imagine when there are ones that are golf ball size, the damage done to automobiles? You see these automobile dealerships where they have hundreds of cars that are it just looks like somebody took, well, we'll just say a Hillary Clinton pickaxe, without the bleach bit to them. It's unbelievable. But anyhow, they're massive chunks, and they're now called gorilla hail. I don't know why, but they're big. I'll tell you that. Big as apples, big as softballs, big as baseballs. They had all different size hail coming down. So watch out for that. It's a new term. 609. That'll probably be weighed and measured and found wanting in the very, very near future. I remember when George Allen used a word, and it's a word that other people have used. I'm not going to use it. And they took it in the worst possible light and actually took his career from him. It's a wild time that we live in. 609-407-1450, open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry.
Good morning.
Before I forget to ask, this afternoon, is it the Guy Benson show that you were?
Yeah, here's the story. If I'm doing a program that we do not carry on this station, I cannot mention it. It's not a Town Square Media issue. It's a broadcasting requirement. If I'm doing Brian Kilmeade or I'm doing Fox Across America, I can mention it. So if you don't hear me mention it, it could likely be a program that you might be able to figure out that I'll be on as the guest host today. I'm not able to tell you the answer to your question.
Well, can I say it?
Well, you just did. You just did say what you thought that it was. Let's just leave it at that. I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Okay.
Boy, every lawyer out there is so proud of me right now. Though I just finessed that. I threaded the needle. I mean, this should be a train the trainer clinic into how to handle the question that you just posed to me. Thank you for challenging me and giving me the opportunity to perform so admirably well. Anyhow, what's on your mind?
Well, there are a couple of things, but I want to get off of this Fawny, Willis, and Wade, whatever.
Oh, you want to get off it? I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it later today. I'm begging Scott McAfee. Scott, are you listening? Please don't let us down. Please make the ruling today, preferably in the afternoon, and he'll make my day. Because, George, I'm telling you, with me and the reality of what he's going to do, it doesn't matter. If he disqualifies them, I'm happy. And if he doesn't disqualify them, I might even be happier. So bring it on.
Well, the thing is, for me, though, when I go to the movies, I like to have extra butter on my popcorn.
Yeah.
So,
well, there you go. So you'll want him to then say that they are not being removed from the case.
Exactly.
Because, my God, the storylines that come after that and the examination of a horrifically bad decision, and then obviously President Trump will appeal the decision, and I think the first honest person that gets it will have to say, come on, you can't have these people on this case. She pays the lover, and they're on the case, and and all of this. I mean, you can't have this.
There's no question about it. There's another reason, too. I'm going to come right out and say it. I mean, isn't Fawny, Willis, and Wade, aren't they black?
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, because isn't this a systemically racist nation?
Yeah, but what's your point? Is your point that a white judge will knock out two African Americans? I don't understand. You have to explain what you're saying here.
Doesn't everything come down to racism? Whoa, it's racism?
Well, my theory on that is when everything is racism, nothing is racism.
There you go. That's it. That's my point.
There you go.
Okay, now let's move on to Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, I have so much more respect for people that I already had respect for that were in the Democrat Party, like Tom Foley or Congressman Van Drew, because a tremendous burden has been lifted off of their shoulders as they can come back into humanity.
I mean, imagine having to defend these people. I couldn't do it.
It is so disgusting. And you go back to even in the Obama administration, didn't they spend through the State Department in Obama's administration like $300 million trying to defeat the Netanyahu, whatever?
Oh, that was filthy dirty. It was a creative way that they did it. It was an outside group, but with very close ties. It was very, very dirty, thinly disguised, but it was an outside group, but just very connected, if not formally, we'll say with a ... Think about how things have changed. I'm not grading these issues. I'm merely reporting. And Obama is not exactly ancient history. I mean, Biden was his two-term vice president. When Obama ran for office, he ran under the principle that marriage was between a man and a woman. He said regularly about illegal aliens, how bad it was for our country, that we're a country of legal immigration, and how bad the illegal immigration is. And in fact, he even got nicknamed Deporter-in-Chief. Look at how far the Democrat Party has strayed from Barack Obama, who was also wildly liberal. Think about that.
I thought, to be quite frank with you, wildly racist, okay, to boot. All right, that's the way I feel about it, so here it comes. It's like what goes around comes around. Bottom line is, when it comes to the Democrat Party today, well, you don't even have to go today. We talked about it. The party of the Ku Klux Klan, the party of slavery. I mean, the bottom line is they are really, as a group, as far as I'm concerned, the hierarchy, not the decent people at the street level, okay? I'm talking about the leadership in that party is disgusting.
Yeah, I think the Democrats have had this monolithic support as sort of a hangover effect of the greatness of the civil rights legislation, where actually Republicans helped to make that happen. People like Al Gore Sr., the father of Vice President Gore, and others adamantly against all of that. The Democrats have enjoyed well more than a half century of monolithic support. I think it's all coming to an end, and I think it's a big part of the reason why President Trump is at between 23 and 25% African-American support.
Well, because they're tired. I mean, anybody with an ounce of brains, and hey, blacks and whites, Hispanics, we have brains, okay? But anybody that wants to use their brains the way God gave them to us, it doesn't matter what color you are. Your brain's dead if you can't see today that the Democrat Party, going all the way back to the slavery, has got nothing to do but enslaving the black community and the minority community to the max, all the way up to the year 2024. I mean, most people that aren't using cotton between their ears can see that, which is why they're doing their best to peel themselves away from the bondage and the enslavement, political enslavement, that they are under with the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, it really is that. And I hope you are right. There's obviously movement, but in fairness, we're going to have to let time go by to prove if that is actual movement or if it is just an appeal to liking Trump. Because the Trump 4 years for African Americans was, and for all Americans for that matter, because we were a country then that we didn't get into all this hyphenated stuff. We didn't get into all this division stuff. The policies were good for every single American, every demographic, race, creed, color. None of it mattered. Everybody came along. What's going on now is horrifically bad. And that's why Biden is at 37%. George, thanks for a great call. When we come back, more of your phone calls. You will join the program next, and you'll be right after that. And we do have an open phone line at 609-407-1450. It's 16 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
It's the topics that matter to me.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
What do we have from Joe Biden? Oh, let me put forward a $7.3 trillion budget. Do you not realize how bad this is? That we're going to be at 150% of GDP, which is unsustainable. We can't survive as a country with numbers that bad. The U.S. national debt could quickly reach 130% of GDP, shooting well past $50 trillion. Let me tell you, it may sound good on paper if you're not part of the wealthy, but every corporation that they raise taxes on, every rich person they raise taxes on, that's less money they're going to be spending and investing. That's going to benefit all of us and create jobs and goods and services at prices that we can actually afford and that we want, need, and desire.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
It's a woke society, and I'm fed up with it.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
All right, I'm going to try to make a 7:30 a.m. surprise happen. So let's get some calls in now and make it count. We're compressed for time, possibly. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Harry. It's a great day in Brigantine.
Yes.
If someone showed up at your front door, knocked on your door, and you opened the door, and they said they wanted to come in, and you said no and closed the door, did you throw them out of your house?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say, while they're already on your property when they're at your door and at your porch, I'm going to say no, you didn't throw them out. You just did not invite them to come inside.
Okay, so that's how Barack Hussein Obama got the title as deporter in chief. People were rejected at the border. They didn't come in and get thrown out.
Right. They just weren't let in the first place.
Right. So deporter in chief, that was all smoke and mirrors, but that's not why I called.
You know what? That's a very fair point. It's an exaggeration. Remember, I said that's what he was called, so it's not like I agreed with it. But it's a really good analysis that you did. But at least he was sensible about it. Still, a lot of people got in, but nothing like what we see now. It is so completely out of control. But that is a good point. He stopped them at the door.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as far as Schmuck Schumer, my understanding, he's the highest-ranking Jewish person in the history of American government, okay?
Correct.
I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, Harry, I thought that foreign interference in elections was a bad thing.
It's only when they're not doing it. See, that as long as we know the rules, Andy, we can play the game. Obama, for example, he tried to take down Netanyahu also.
Yes, of course. He sent the money there. Yeah. I'm glad you told me that because I was confused.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck Schumer doesn't like people who are threats to democracy, but he just called for the overthrow of a democratically elected leader in the only democracy in the Middle East.
Yes.
Or am I wrong?
You are not wrong. I want to say it in the affirmative. You are correct.
Yeah. So what Benjamin Netanyahu should do, and I could just hear him doing this because you're going to push him only so far, okay? He's going to tell Schmuck Schumer, Joe Biden, and the Democrats and the United States, not really the United States, not you and I, but the country, to mind your own effing business. Who the hell are you to tell me how to run my country after what you did in Afghanistan?
Yeah.
And the Afghanistan thing is only the latest debacle we've had.
But how about when a terrorist enemy is literally killing the people of Israel? For an American leader, one of the leaders of of an equal branch of government, the leader of the Senate, to come out and do what he's done, it's disgraceful.
Yeah. Well, these are the people who always remind us ad nauseum how much they care about women and children. And look at what was done to women and children on October 7th. I'm getting tired of this two-state solution. Harry, there was a two-state solution on October 6th. You had Jews and Arabs living side by side with really no issues.
And I've always believed that's why Hamas did what they did. They wanted to blow up that deal.
Yeah. So there goes your two-state solution. We had one, and look what happened.
But how can you have, and I know you're not saying it, but I'll just pose the question so you can comment. How can you have a two-state solution when Hamas literally wants Israel exterminated off of the face of the earth? How can anyone be part of a two-state solution when one side is behaving like that?
Well, was it Golda Meir said you can't negotiate with people who don't want you to be alive,
yes.
Or words to that?
Yeah, very close to those words, and yes. And it made sense then, it makes sense now.
A two-state solution is analogous to multiculturalism, which, as Angela Merkel said in Germany, has been an utter failure. You can't have people living together. I'm getting to the southern border issue. You have these people coming in who do not share our values. They do not share our culture, our way of life, religion, whatever. And they're living side by side. I see a day, if this continues, I see a day where you start seeing things that happen in Israel happening here. A two-state solution and multiculturalism are the same thing. There's a difference between a multi-ethnic country and a multicultural country. You can have different ethnicities living together as long as they are all Americans and adopt to American ways. They want to be Americans. That's why you didn't have these problems in the 1800s, the 1900s, when all the people were immigrating here, because they wanted to be Americans. They came here, they wanted to be American.
Right, now people want to come here and be anti-American.
Yes.
Not even like they want to just keep their own, culture and so forth. They want to come here and be anti-American. It's amazing.
Well,
in other words, steal every benefit that this great country can offer while you hate it.
And this is why the Muslim Brotherhood has stated in their bylaws, or whatever you want to call them, I forget the term that's used, but they talk about the three ways that they're going to destroy this country. Number one is, quote, through the wombs of our women. Have lots of babies. Number two, through immigration. And number three, by using your own freedoms against you. And we're seeing it. It's happening in real time. It's happening in real time.
Why do you think Joe Biden flew over 325,000 people into this country? Why do you think he did that?
Well, as Dr. Phil says, those who have nothing to hide nothing. So I've actually witnessed this. They fly them to these small airports where they won't get noticed, like in the middle of the night. One of them is Republic Airport, which is on Long Island. It's a small airport. Like Trenton Mercer would be another one. They use these small airports where you don't see lots and lots of people, and they do it in the middle of the night. And, the question's been answered. Like Barack Hussein Obama says, the only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Yeah. They've dropped leaflets. They have road maps. They get them here. They have, no soil on their shoes. They just get here with no muss, no fuss whatsoever. And then they know they've got them in here. Biden did this thing, for those who don't know. He's giving people 2 years in our country. We don't even know who the people are. They get 2 years. And then, at the end of 2 years, if Biden wins, they're going to get 2 more and 10 more and forevermore. It is so out of control. It's so dangerous. Andy, I've got to get the bottom of the hour break in. Thanks for your call. 32 minutes past the hour. You'll be the next caller when we come back. Don't go away. It is the Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you, and it's Harry Hurley. 3 stories that you can follow right now on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. This is true. You've got to read it. When house paint cleaned itself in the Atlantic City area in 1947. A Philadelphia restaurateur has purchased Memories in Margate. Good God. And Procida, that's a man, Billy Procida, delivers on a New Jersey project that had been stalled for 20 years. That and more on the app. We'll be back.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Most of the rain associated with today's cold front will pass south of us. Having said that, our weather will be unsettled as we make the transition from warm to cooler today, and temperatures may start to fall off this afternoon as that cooler air arrives. A few hit-or-miss showers expected, mostly cloudy and breezy, high of 70. Clearing skies tonight, low 43. Partly sunny and dry tomorrow, high 59. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. For complete contest rules, visit WPGTalkRadio.com. You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
Mays Landing.
I'm from Milica Township.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG.
HD.
Ocean City.
Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you and welcome back. I'll tell you what I was thinking about during the break. I used to fly to Atlanta quite a bit. I don't remember exactly, but you figure the flight from ACY to Orlando is about 2 hours. So probably the Atlanta flight was about an hour and a half. You got a full meal. You didn't have to go through any TSA. You just walked on with your bag or you checked your bag in. There was no bag charge. There was no seat charge. It was a reasonable rate for the flight. You got a full meal, chicken sometimes, steak sometimes, with mashed potatoes and a vegetable and a beverage. And then always, the person would come around with peanuts and other snacks and stuff like that, and all of that. Now, and you had legroom then. Now you're packed in like sardines. Even a reasonably bad seat is like $55 now. The bag costs even more, and your flight on top of that. And oh, by the way, there's no meal, and you can pay exorbitantly for soda and snacks. Now, you think about it. Look at how American societal evolution is devolving. That's what I was thinking about during the break. How good it used to be, how fair it used to be. And look what it's turning into. Oh, you think you're getting a good rate? Oh, my God, $59 down, $49 back? Go at if you're going with one person, like hundreds of dollars, $200 and some dollars for your seats, $200 and some dollars for your bags. It's crazy. It really is. It is amazing how much in the wrong direction we're going in so many respects. Excellence in service is almost evaporated from the country. That used to be something that people took a lot of pride in. Now it's like someone's doing you a favor if they do their job. It's just really a shame how things are going. I don't know if it's a period in time that'll be looked upon and we emerge from it and improve on it, or is this the benchmark now and it's even going to get worse? I would vote for the latter. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hey, welcome to the brave new world of COVID 1984, right?
Well, it's not even COVID-19. This all went bad before COVID-19, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I wanted to just bring up two combined topics in one, really. What preceded World War I, bypass WW2 as fun as it was, and go right to World War III, what's going on in two Eastern European provinces. Circa June 28, 1914, Austro-Hungary's Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Sarajevo, capital city of Bosnia-Herzegovina, by a member of the Black Hand Secret Society, Gavrilo Princip. Now, before I jump to World War III, that fun topic, I do believe that secret society was a part of the conglomerate of secret societies under the name that starts with an I and ends with an I. It's 10 letters. It was started on Beltane, May Day, 1776. There, I said it. But anyway, I saw some disturbing.
How come you didn't want to just say Illuminati? But go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is no evidence that the Illuminati was put out of business. Anyway. But I saw some disturbing footage last night. Now, it was 4 Russian soldiers, and they were surrounding a Ukrainian soldier in fatigues. I couldn't tell if it was a male or a female. And she shouted out, "I'm a woman. Don't shoot me." So they got in close and said, "Well, we won't shoot you, but put your hands up over your head so we can see you." So then they said, "Please," she said, "please don't hurt me. I'm pregnant." I said, "You're a pregnant woman. What are you doing here?" But to give credibility that they're all speaking in Russian, a large amount of Ukrainians, ethnic Ukrainians and ethnic Russians that live in Ukraine are bilingual. So that gives credibility to that.
Well, yeah, Ukrainians do speak Russian, Flash.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
They don't want to be Russians, but they do speak Russian. They speak English as well.
Yeah, they have a history that goes back before Russia, so it goes back to antiquity. So that's another topic altogether. But the fact of the matter is that Chucky Schmucky Schumer, Chucky Boy, has pledged to send billions of more taxpayer monies to Ukraine, and he says if we don't do that, then soldiers will have to go. So that sounds like a threat to me. If you don't dig deep into your pockets and support this war, then your sons and daughters will come back in body bags. And I'm telling you, whether people,
well, that is what he said.
That's what he said. Now, President Trump was able to stop that war or not, he would have handled it way differently. Thanks for letting me call in.
Thank you, Flash. I agree completely. No dispute about any of that. He would have handled it differently. Let's not forget, it would never have happened if he was president. He wouldn't have had to handle it differently. His mere presence would have made Russia handle their business differently. They did not attack an inch of Ukraine for the 4 years of Trump. All you have to do, and I know this drives you loon lefties even battier than you already are, because you got to admit, you've got a terrible president that you try to defend on a daily basis, the worst in the history of the country. When Obama and Biden were in, Putin attacked Ukraine. When Trump was in, not a peep. Biden gets in, right away, boom, right back at it. So you cannot deny that, and there's obviously a reason for it. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Splash was good, but it's no real secret. They could call it a secret society, but if one person comes out and says you have to live with brownouts, you're going to be basically controlled, and you're going to eat bugs, and you're going to buy electric cars. There's no secrets left. That's what's going to happen, according to these people.
Dan, do me a huge favor. I've got a guest that it's so timely that I want to bring on. I've got to get the break in. I owe you more time next time, I promise. Let me go. We'll be right back. It's Hurley in the Morning.
What's the best way to get through winter? How about getting ready for springtime? WPG Talk Radio 95.5 has your chance to win a $500 Visa gift card. Use it for a mini vacation to Cape May, a shopping spree in Atlantic City, hundreds of ride tickets in Ocean City, or more pizza than you can possibly eat on the Wildwood Boardwalk. The choice is yours. A $500 Visa gift card is up for grabs now on the WPG Talk Radio app. Enable our skill and tell your smart speaker, play WPG. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
Biden is going to drive this country into the ground.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. It is 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Let's make this count because we have so much to cover and so little time to do it. Tom Cantone, almost no introduction required, a true living legend, the president of Mohegan Gaming International. And Tom, this is literally history in the making. Tomorrow night in Atlantic City at Resorts Casino Hotel Atlantic City, and then next Friday night at your place in the Mohegan Sun Arena. This is a really big deal. Tony Orlando, the final 2 live performances of his 60-plus year career.
The finale.
Yes.
We're calling it we talked at length about what to call it. And there's a million farewell shows, and a lot of them are bogus. And there's a whole list. In fact, Rolling Stone did a whole article about all of these big acts who said that was their finale 10, 20 years ago. And then only a couple years later, blah, blah, blah. Kiss, Cher, Leonard Skinner,
yeah, they come back
out there. But this, Tony said, Tom, this is it. I can't, I want to play, I want to hit the ball, but my body can't do it. And you know what? He deserves to go out in style and in class and on his terms, like Johnny Carson did. Johnny went out on his terms. It was he knew when it was time, and he went out on top. That's what Tony's doing. You don't want that failed image of, like, even Frank Sinatra. way too long. They kept pushing him out there.
Well,
and,
actually, I mean, it's a fair comment, and I know how much you love Sinatra, and you know how much I love Sinatra, and we were very fortunate. We had him, and you did too, at different times during our career. He was exclusive to our properties, you at the Sands, me at the Golden Nugget, and I can only say this. I personally witnessed from a very close distance in the Opera House when I was right there, and it was Sinatra reading from a typed sheet with the lyrics. You don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
And Tony knows that. He's well aware. But you know what? It's a salute to Resorts and Mark Giantonio and his team with Mary and Mo and everybody there. You know how wonderful it's going to be tonight, and you're going to be there, right?
Oh, I'm absolutely going to be there, and he's there now. But it's actually tomorrow night at Resorts. You know that you set it up with Mark and everybody, and then it's Friday night at your place.
Yes, but he's there today, and how wonderful it is. But you know what? He could have chosen a lot of places in Atlantic City. He chose Resorts. He could have chosen a lot of places to say goodbye. Vegas, he's big, and he chose at Mohegan Sun. So it's a salute to our relationships and our friendships over the years, and who he is as a humanitarian first and foremost. I've never met anyone quite like him, and you know him along those lines too. The contributions he has made on his own personal time and personal resources to our men and women in the military alone is second to none. You know, and I can tell you that sometimes artists, you know, they'll add $1 onto their ticket and that'll go to a charity and blah, blah, blah. That didn't come out of their pocket. You know, not for him. You know, he's invested in everything that he does. And we're going to say goodbye to him next weekend. And he's doing a press conference next Wednesday at our place. And I think after he's done at Resorts, he's going to be doing a ton of national press like Today's Show or Good Morning America or Entertainment Tonight, one of those or two or three. And I'm sure he's going to be talking about Resorts and Mohegan. So, you know, it's just phenomenal. But here's the stat to remember. And this is the one I researched, and I told him, and he couldn't believe it. He's performed 65 times at Mohegan Sun to over 100,000 people. And no other artist has done that other than Billy Joel. You know, Billy Joel did it with his residency. But over time, he'll have that as the best and the biggest at Mohegan Sun.
When you look at his body of work, and because it's one of those ones that's measured in so many decades, you've got Tony Orlando, obviously the record, you know, the hit record maker with Tony Orlando and Dawn, then Tony Orlando as a single artist. You have Tony Orlando, the national network TV star with his own weekly variety type show. You have Tony Orlando, you know, the touring concert performer. I mean, and of course you do have Tony Orlando, also the philanthropist, because he got very, very interested in our military and other causes around the country. And as you know, his tie yellow ribbon around the old oak tree is like an anthem. His career is storied and legendary.
He had a primetime TV network show. It was the first multiracial television network show ever. And, you know, with Tony Orlando and Dawn. And, you know, he broke a lot of ground. When he was a record executive, he discovered Barry Manilow. You know, Barry Manilow is sitting out in the lobby. He's playing on a piano, and Tony comes out and you know, and starts talking to him about his career, and then got him going. There's so many stories that Tony has. You name a name in any way, shape, or form in our culture, especially pop culture, or not, politicians, whoever. Tony was there.
Yeah.
Sinatra.
House.
So Tony was there. The Rat Pack. And no matter what you say, he's a walking national treasure of everything that was good. everything that was good. You've never heard anything bad about him. There was never any controversy.
True.
You know, he just lived a wonderful life, and he still is.
So let me ask you this in our 2-minute drill, Tom. What does it mean to you that Tony Orlando, and I love this, the finale? You know, when you love a TV show, I always tell our listeners, look every year at the end of the season. Does it say season finale or does it say series finale? Because if it says season finale, unless they're canceled, they intend to come back. If it says series finale, it's over and you're going to miss it, whether it's Yellowstone or anything like that. What does it mean to you that the Tony Orlando finale will be at Resorts Atlantic City and at Mohegan Sun?
Love. It means love. The love he has for us, the love we have for him. He's not going to want to leave the stage. I know him. He gives it his all anyway. He will perform, and he doesn't want to ever leave the stage. I can only imagine. There's a bunch of celebrities coming, too. I mean, there's a lot of outpouring. There's a bunch of videos that have been done. Everyone from Adam Sandler to Paul Anka to, you know, it's just going to be a tribute night, you know, a Hall of Fame night. This is his green jacket. He's going to exit the stage, you know, like Stairway to Heaven, just wonderful feelings. It's going to be a pinch me moment for me, too. I'm going to present him with a special gift on stage when it's all said and done that's going to commemorate what I just told you about his record there. And I'm going to freeze frame it, Harry. I'm going to sit there and just take in every minute because it'll be the last time I see it. And, boy, you know, I'm melancholy about that, you know, because when you know that it's the last time, you think, oh, I can do it next time, or I can be there another time. This is it. And he's already sold 3 times as many tickets. The arena is going to be full, sold out. Imagine that. 9,000 people is going to be in that arena giving him standing ovations. And I'm sure there'll be many surprises.
Tom,
surprises. But he's going to tie a yellow ribbon around his life in front of us.
I love it,
there
Tom.
You go.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Saturday, and I can't wait to be with you next week.
We'll see you then, Moho.
Hold on, don't go away. I got to talk to you.
HD3,
Okay.
Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way and the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. 6 minutes past the hour. Dateline Atlantic City with Atlantic City Councilman George Tibbett. So everything is fair game this hour. Next hour, we turn it all off. It is what we call an official Hurley in the Morning mental health break with George, with Don Hurley. In short, OMHB, official mental health break. And we're going to need it. But again, this hour, nothing is off the table. Dateline Atlantic City Councilman Tibbett, welcome.
Good morning.
Good to see you. And what's the first topic that you'd like to chat about?
St. Patty's Day parade we had last weekend.
Am I in good?
You're in tuxedo green today.
I'm in a tuxedo. I'm in a St. Patrick's green tuxedo in honor of what I hear, despite the inclement weather, which nobody can control, was a huge, well-attended, and that's from a participant standpoint and also a spectator standpoint. That's a spectacle, that event.
This year, yeah, it was really good, Harry. With the different mummers parades in there, multiple floats, it was huge.
This should be official mental health break, but we'll do it now anyhow.
It was a very good time, Harry. The boardwalk was I was surprised how crowded it was, and
people like it.
The potential of this thing exploding is definitely there. Unfortunately, Mother Nature didn't cooperate. Yeah. But other than that, the parade was a fun time being in it, throwing candy to the kids, and
a lot of buzz.
Yeah,
a lot of
see this guy John Hand on his three-wheeler. You see he made all the papers with his tropical bicycle.
What that means is these are the kinds of events that are really good for Atlantic City. Positive light, really, well received. That type of activity and special event is very important, especially now, because I think you're going to agree with this. And that topic would be something we would usually talk about during the next hour in the official mental health break. But it lets me pivot to the reason that's so important is because so many people right now are very, very down on Atlantic City.
Unfortunately, Harry, that's a very true statement. Everywhere you go, you're sitting out having dinner, you run into people, and it's the topic of all conversation. And unfortunately, in the position I'm in, I have to sit there, listen to it. Of course, I know what they're saying, but you have to hear them out. And when are we going to start to wake up and listen and say, it's for real what people saying as far as the homelessness going? The drug abuse is taking place. It's all fixable. We have the resources in Atlantic City and Atlantic County in the state to go to war with drugs. We could do it. It's 48 blocks, street sides water. How can you not defeat it? Did you see? I love this lady. This mayor of Philadelphia, so far is everything you need in a mayor of the city of Atlantic City.
Well, she won on that crowded ballot, and her ideas are terrific.
You see what she did yesterday? There will be absolutely no funding for any needle exchange program in the city of Philadelphia. She's for the cops. She's very supportive of police and holding people accountable. She's very for holding police accountable. An even balance nobody's going to ever be mad at. But, this woke defund bull crap,
So you realize with what you just said, Councilman Tibbet, they got a chance again to eradicate all these murders and things. Actually, I don't know if it's still holding true now, but for most of 2024, there have been more murders in Atlantic City than there have been in Philadelphia. You never had anything like that.
Yeah, and thank God we have a hospital right in Atlantic City.
Yeah, Philadelphia is trending.
You have more, but we're saving them.
Yeah, because
if you just called them shootings, we like to play the game. Well, only 5 died this year. Well, you had probably 25 get shot.
They just did great medical work, saved the statistics.
Yeah, and being so close and getting the help as quick as possible really helps. I mean, the hospitals has its pros and cons, and always great to have a hospital in your town. But then again, what do you get? You get people dumping.
Yeah, I say
disabled people. When I say disabled, mentally disabled people into the city, and then 48 hours later they open the front door and they're roaming the city of Atlantic City with all kinds of mental issues. Mental health is a very serious problem in this country right now, and we're not as a nation. It aggravates you and it really pisses you off that we have all these people through every big city in the town suffering from mental health, and there's no help for them. But look at the money we're sending everywhere. You can't save the world if you can't save home first. And we got to stop spending money all over this country. And I get it, there's wars and everything else. But I have a war going on in America right now, and that's drugs and mental health issues of people all over the streets. And it's affecting our economy. We're starting to look like a third world country in our big cities out there. And at some point, our leaders have got to wake up and say, we got to take care of home first.
What I always believe is that Atlantic City always has a great comeback left in her. It's happened. I wrote an article once about maybe a year ago or so, and I've written a similar piece many times over the past 30 plus years. There have been many, many comebacks in Atlantic City. You know this, and we were young, but we all saw it when the moment the summer was over, it was a ghost town.
Yeah, right after Miss America.
And that's why they did Miss America, to extend the summer season. It was a ghost town, and you could bowl down any of the major streets. It was so sparse in terms of activity and such. Now, some year-round people love that because they feel like they get their city back and all.
Guilty.
But at the same time, when you're a year-round destination resort and it's vibrant and you have the ability, to attract people all 4 seasons, it's huge. So I know Atlantic City has another comeback. The casinos are doing their part. I'm very concerned about New York City competition encroaching very soon, because if we don't get our act together, we're going to lose a couple of more casinos, and we cannot afford to let that happen. But we need, and it's going to take the next mayor. This mayor is a disaster. His priorities are an abomination. His personality is is off-putting and disgraceful. He's everything you don't want to see in a city mayor. So when that change happens again, I remember when Rudy Giuliani became the mayor of New York, the trash was piled up 20, 30 feet high, rats as big as cats. It was unbelievable how bad it was. Cleaned it up. You get a mayor in there that puts the focus on clean streets, safe streets. Atlantic City is going to take off, George.
I believe so. Just something as simple as yesterday. Sun's out. What was it, almost 70 degrees?
Yeah.
You look at the ocean, you see the grass is turning green, and it just changes your attitude about everything. Atlantic City has a lot to offer, but you look at Longport, Margate, Ventnor, Craphole AC, then you go to Brigantine. What's all in common? We're all the same barrier. We're all on Barrier Island.
Well, it's a matter of
they're all thriving.
Right, it's a matter of priorities.
It can be done.
It can be done.
It can be done.
And by the way, it can be done in Atlantic City.
Absolutely, it could be done in Atlantic City. We have more to offer. We have a whole lot more to offer, and all you got to do is have good leadership. And we need leadership at the state to say no more. Because if you tell me if the state don't see what's going on in Atlantic City, come on, man, look at it. It can't be the economic engine that it is and look the way that it does right now.
Well, I really believe
we missed a boat on the Hurricane Sandy. We really missed a boat. When you look at other towns that have totally taken that the federal money and rebuilt their towns, but when you don't have the best professionals in place that know how to get that money, know how to rebuild things, know how to play the game and rebuild cities. You look at Seaside Heights.
Yeah.
No different than Atlantic City at one time with the old housing stock. Their boardwalk was run down, all got rebuilt. Asbury Park is making a comeback.
It's all about
made a comeback.
It's all about priorities.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it right after the break because it's an excellent point that Councilman Tibbet is making. There is a mayor of Atlantic City now. The priority has been to consolidate power, to retaliate against enemies and perceived enemies, to create a employment agency for family and friends, where the joke is so bad on the people right now that they say they ran out of friends and family. Now they hire ex-wives. So that's the running joke in Atlantic City. It's that bad. Much to talk about. We'll continue Atlantic City Councilman George Tibbet on the Hurley in the Morning program.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
We need to do what's best for this country.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
I listen every morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. It is 21 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program at State Line, Atlantic City. Joining us right after the bottom of the hour break will be John Exadactylus, known as Johnny X, owner of Ducktown Tavern and Liquors, also known is becoming legendary throughout the city. Councilman, as you well know, he's earned another nickname, 5-0 Johnny.
5-0 Johnny.
He's a slayer. I have to give credit where credit's due. It's not, you know me, George. It's never reluctant to me. I'll give credit or I'll give blame with equal ease. For someone to be a business owner and understand that if they take a public position that's adverse to the person that is in charge of the administrative branch, that's going to invite inspectors and hell. And he's had all of that.
He's had it all, and that's why he's 5-0 Johnny. You're not going to beat him. When you take millions of dollars from an average Joe that he has invested in this city, every penny, no grant money, no loans, everything he earns, he puts right back into the city, whether it be his home, his family, or his bar restaurant.
Yeah, so the small mayor, they now call him Mayor of Smallville. Did you know that? Which I thought was hilarious. I could, if I want, I could make that famous. But I just love Atlantic City too much to do that. But he is Smallville mayor. You would think he would say thank you to somebody like that. Because if you think about it, I'm not aware, I could be wrong, but I'm not aware of really anything that Marty does that he doesn't get paid for.
Yeah. I've never seen him reach in his pocket.
So, it's just interesting. I would always be, hey, listen, appreciate that you're a business owner in our community, and that's really the way that you should treat your property taxpayers.
You don't think Ventnor would love to have a Johnny Ekadakis in the city of Ventnor? It'd
be fabulous
with the way they're the renaissance that they're having down there.
He would be fabulous there.
Maybe Lance could be our mayor of Atlantic City too. You don't have to live here. We found that out, right?
Yeah,
You could be a councilman, not live in Atlantic City. You can live in AHT. So maybe we can get Lance to come straight in Atlantic City out the way him and his team has done Ventnor. Sorry, Lance, I don't want to get you fired.
They're running unopposed.
We're just joking.
You are aware of that, right?
Yeah, but we don't want to get Lance fired from the great job that he does do. You know how
you don't get to run unopposed by luck.
Yeah.
So
they do a good job.
You have to give credit where credit's due.
I love it. I love going down there. I really do. I love seeing the kids run around the library, do the things the kids are supposed to do.
Spent half my life there, George.
I end up leaving angry because I'm like, why isn't my library like Ventnor's library? Why can't my kids run around the library? Or my kids as in Atlantic City kids, why can't my kids do that stuff? Why can't they run down the boardwalk? Why can't you walk out of a restaurant and not have to worry about getting robbed or mugged or stuff like that? And it's frustrating, and it's more frustrating because it's fixable. You can do it. You don't care what people think about you. Get in there, support your police, get outside we need help from outside agencies. I don't care who gets mad. You can't do it on our own. We need help, and we need support from the courts. When our cops lock these people up, start banging them, hit them with the sentences that they deserve. These drug dealers are poisoning our kids and ruining them.
Yeah, it's true. Let me bring up a topic and just ask our listeners to be mindful of the fact until someone is sentenced, they're not a convicted criminal.
Mm-hmm.
But MD Morshed has ended all doubt, any suspense. He has pled guilty to at least some election improprieties. He'll be sentenced, and then at that point, you're officially convicted. Right now, he has pled guilty, so he's guilty of an offense, but not yet. Is it accurate to call someone a convicted felon until such time that a judge actually sentences them? A lot of people don't know that. They think the moment there's either a guilty verdict or someone pleads guilty that creates the event. Actually, it's the sentencing that creates the event. But having said that, none of that surprises you, right? He is where he is.
Yeah, I kind of knew it was true. I wish he didn't. He's a hard guy to dislike, but
he turned on you, right?
Yeah. But I'm a better person.
You were good to him, and he turned on you.
Well, it's funny. He came to me, apologized. I'm sorry. I should have never did it. With Marty tried to get me to make lies up about you to the FBI, and I wouldn't do it. I said, tell the FBI anything you want. I'm very secure with my lifestyle, how I live, where my money comes from, and nobody can buy me. I'm not for sale. But what's more important is that all you guys in that community that have been stealing the ballots from the mailboxes, from signing ballots, from filling ballots out, you're next. There's your warning. You're next. What you did isn't going away. Living in Egg Harbor Township, saying you live in Atlantic City. Harry, watch what's coming with that. Watch what's coming with that, and the evidence, overwhelming evidence to prove he doesn't live in Atlantic City is going to be mind-boggling, and that nobody has done nothing yet. But the wheels of justice move extremely slow, but they work, and it's very frustrating for people. I watched this on the show where actually law enforcement says, hey, we work extremely slow, but when we come, we got you. That's step one of saving the city is that when you have leaders that are harvesting votes, and this ain't no mega Trump, whatever you want to call it, this is real. The harvesting of ballots does in fact happen in Atlantic City, and the one community is putting people over the top. They don't control the city, but their ballots always decide the winners.
So, George, when people, and those just joining us, Atlantic City Councilman George Tibbett is our guest this hour, and the next hour with Don, we will go to our official mental health break, and it's going to be a lot of fun as well. Johnny X is going to join us in about 7 minutes. So when people hear things such as there are activities in Atlantic City where people follow the actual mail delivery person, the United States Federal Post Office mail delivery person, and they're right behind that person, and when those ballots go into the mailbox, they grab the ballots, they bring them, they become now the mailman,
the messenger.
Right. But in an illegal way, though.
Yes.
Because they've gone into a mailbox, which is a federal crime. This is what I've been told. You tell me if this is accurate. They take the ballot to the person, and then they hover over that person while that person is supposed to fill it out in the way that they want them to.
That's 1,000% correct. Now, the mailmen aren't in on it, so let's not...
That's
just
fair.
Because we said postal,
Yeah,
they know when the mailman's coming,
Yeah.
and if one person gets a ballot, then they know the mailman's coming and start following the mailman. But the postal people aren't involved. They do their job.
Good
and then
comment.
if somebody sneaks behind them and they're pulling those ballots out and then showing up, and there's case after case after case of people that it's happened to that have actually went to the authorities when someone showed up at their house with their ballot in their hand, opened already, and they're telling them just sign here, here, and here. Naeem will testify to that, that they found that. But you know what's funny, Harry? The person, what Mooreshed did was wrong. There's no doubt about it, and he's accepting responsibility, and he's going to have to pay the consequences.
Isn't he small though compared to what's actually going on?
He was a big player.
He was a big player. Okay,
Moorshed's a big player.
Okay,
we're not gonna. I feel bad for him, but he's not getting a free pass.
Fair, that's fair. I wanted to get that established.
You got me. I forgot. But the people that actually got the investigation started on Mooreshed, it wasn't because Mooreshed was. It's because Mooreshed beat them. Why that person? And I know who that person is. Not the person at Wire. I know the person that actually made the complaint is just as bad as Mooreshed. Mooreshed was just better at it.
So to take heat and light off of them, they turned him in? Is that what happened?
No, because they lost the election and they stayed mad because they couldn't do as many ballots as Mooreshed did, and then they go file a complaint with the Board of Elections.
So they did what
Remember
he did.
what I'm saying
They
today.
weren't as good as it.
The person that started that investigation and snitched on Mooreshed that what he was doing it was doing it. I seen it with my own eyes, and so
the person that's
we're not going to say his name because they're just waiting for me to make a mistake. You know how many lawyers are being paid right now or going to be paid later to listen to your broadcast to see what I say so that they could try and attempt to use the city paid lawyers to come after me as well.
By the way, doesn't that have to be? We have to get the break in, and we have Johnny X coming up next.
Johnny 5-0.
It's not a pet peeve of mine. I think it's a public disgrace, and law enforcement must do something about this. And our judiciary, they have to be more like Judge Rosenberger. Judge Rosenberger did not allow in his court what Judge Michael Blee allowed in his court.
We will talk about that.
Okay, because
Don't let that go.
I'm not going to let it go and I've written about it and I've spoken about it. And I've been go to the archives of my work. I have been a big proponent of Judge Blee. Something has just. He's misfiring now. Something is going on, and it can't be by accident. That's a guy that himself recused himself for the most minimus reasons from something he should have never even recused himself from. That allows someone that has a city contract to represent the opponent of a sitting member of the city council. I got to be honest with you. He should be a bar ethics complaint should be filed against him for what he's allowed.
And then they tell Latoya, you have a conflict of interest. You can't. But no, he has the conflict of interest.
It is madness. So somebody
just to get him the contract last meeting, he got $150,000,
and he's representing the opponent of a sitting council member. And I know it's bizarro world, but this is crazy. But to his credit, Judge Rosenberger called out Damon Tyner and gave him an opportunity to just admit that he has a conflict of interest. And Damon Tyner admitted to the judge, yes, I have a conflict of interest.
So you know it, but you were still there, and if nobody called it out, you were going to go through it and break the law again?
Well, listen, on I don't want to say again, because I don't have evidence to say that.
I'm talking about the lawyers.
I know what you're saying, but I get it. But I can say that Damon was wrong, and he had to know that he was wrong.
Yep.
And he thought that, look, he saw what Blee was doing. I think they all think that everybody's in on this. It's like, hey, Blee doesn't care.
I think he's being extra careful.
Isn't the guy that is representing Vienna Bailey, he has a 6-figure contract with the city of Atlantic City.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Marty Small, I have been told, retained him, and I use that word loosely, but he arranged for her to have him, correct?
Well, this we could say definitively. Councilman Zia, when he couldn't vote on the same guy, found out that he was his lawyer too and said, it wasn't me, Mayor Smalls hired him for me. So take that up with Councilman Zia. He told us at the council meeting you hired him for Zia's representation, and then Zia had to abstain from the vote. At least we saved him. Unfortunately, we saved him and stopped him from voting on it. He didn't even know he was his lawyer. What do you mean he's my lawyer? Yeah, he's your lawyer. Check the newspaper out. He's the guy representing you for not living in the city of Atlantic City.
I have been an enormous...
How about that? Atlantic City residents are paying for an Egg Harbor Township resident to commit fraud on the people through our tax dollars so that he can have a lawyer so he can stay there. Say that to yourself.
It's madness. And that the judges are allowing these blatant conflict of interest.
Why just Atlantic City?
To continue.
Why is Atlantic City
listen,
with all the fraud?
Somebody's telling somebody to look the other way, that this is the way we're doing it, and none of it makes any sense. I've been the biggest defender. When he was named the assignment judge, I wrote a glowing article. I have been an enormous fan of Blee until lately with the road diet thing. He's totally wrong about that. And allowing people with blatant conflicts of interest. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to say it out loud. I've only filed a bar ethics complaint once in my life. Mm-hmm. I'm 1-0. I shouldn't say a bar ethics complaint, an ethics complaint. It was against an elected official. Well, it's not a bar ethics complaint. If any judge allows someone that has a contract with any city to then represent someone in a clearly conflict of interest modality, I am filing the bar ethics complaint myself. This is my warning call. It's not a threat. It's a promise. I'm absolutely going to do it because I couldn't be more proud of Judge Rosenberger because he knew that he had somebody in his court that had a contract with the city of Atlantic City that was representing someone they should not have been representing, and he called him out on it.
They are our client. We're their client. They work for us. Once you have a contract with the city, I am your client, city council, mayor, and all the directors of the city. We're your client, and you're working against us. We need we need a hearing for that.
What I'm hoping is just they all get the word, because then they'll say whenever who tells them, hey, look, this is going to make you look bad, but this is what we're doing. It'd be great, if you just look the other way.
Why do we get the bottom feeders? We get all the attorneys that are bottom feeders that nobody else will hire. Why do we get them?
Let
me take that back. We got a lot of good attorneys out there. We do. But we do get some bottom feeders out there.
But anybody out there that, part of your living is that you have these professional contracts, you can't go then represent in a very controversial situation the opponent of a sitting council member when you have a contract with the city. That is a blatant conflict of interest.
And don't forget, it's not just a conflict of interest. Government people are held to the standard of an appearance of a conflict of interest.
Even a thinner standard.
Even a thinner, it definitely reaches a conflict. I'm positive it's a conflict of interest, but could you imagine we have to have hearings and people have to discuss legal minds whether this is a conflict and what they come up with, and you say they're all in on it. LaToya's conflicted out.
Hey, by the way,
the attorney's conflicted.
How come Scott McAfee needs 2 weeks to make a decision on the President of the United States, and Mike Blee needs 4 weeks to make a decision on an election that's already certified? He's not making that decision until April 6th.
It's a travesty what's happened to LaToya Dunston. You want to talk?
It's terrible.
What they've done to her. She don't have the funds to be fighting this. Nor does the other woman, obviously, that we're paying for it.
She won off the line, and with Marty supporting her opponent every step of the way. I've been told that Marty is the one that got this attorney to represent Vienna Bailey, so I don't ever say what I can't prove. But this guy didn't just come out of nowhere to all of a sudden be representing a challenger that
the mayor and the attorney was showing up to court. The girl was nowhere to be found.
Because she didn't have.
She never came to court.
One time she knew she didn't have to. One time she was out of the country.
Yeah.
She did.
You know what's funny?
She never had to be there.
We talk about all the holes in his boat leaking.
Yeah.
We even know about the meeting last week that you had that you want to take LaToya out. a year and a day you want to try and recall. This poor woman, this is what he's doing. If he'll pick on a child, he'll definitely pick on an adult. You're going to come after this poor woman, and he's going to make me a racist in the city of Atlantic City. That's his game plan to take me out. Let's start
you're in
calling
good
Georgia
company.
racist.
Will Reynolds, according to Marty Small, is a racist, and Will Reynolds is the absolute opposite of that statement. There's not a racist bone in his body.
Yeah.
As a coach,
whenever
as a
it
man,
don't go
as
their
a
way,
dad,
scream race.
As a prosecutor. Yeah, right. Everything. But again, when everything is racism, nothing is racism.
Yeah.
All right. Johnny X is here.
5-0 Johnny.
If you think any of this was controversial, where do you hear Johnny X? He broadcasts every week and tells it like it is in his Dateline Atlantic City approach. Every single week on his Facebook Live sessions. We'll be right back after this, 39 minutes past the hour. It is the one and only Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
This is Harry Hurley with 3 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. This is a true story. I had so much fun writing it. When house paint cleaned itself in Atlantic City. The year was 1947. Philadelphia restaurateur purchases Memories in Margate. Good God. And this is a name, Procida, Billy Procida, delivers on a New Jersey project that was stalled for more than 20 years. All of that on the app. Early in the Morning, Tibbet and X.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. No real weather danger to beware on the Ides of March, just some spotty showers around, and eventually the arrival of cooler air. Best chance for raindrops will be this afternoon into early evening. Mostly cloudy and breezy, high of 70. Clearing skies after midnight tonight will cool down to 43, and tomorrow's high only 59. Cooler but still pleasant, partly sunny and dry. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City, Goshen, Cape May.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
All right, we're going to have about 7 minutes because I have one more break that we have to get in before the end of the hour. We're going to make this count. Johnny X joins the program. John is the owner of Ducktown Tavern and Liquors, also known as 5-0 Johnny. John, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is that exciting to have a 5-0 record? Because, man, they've come after you.
I tell you what, the last 2 fights were the biggest ones.
Yeah.
The first 3, whatever. But these last 2...
I will say out of the 5, 4 of them I always knew. I mean, it's just impossible that you weren't going to prevail. One of them was, I think, a little, probably a little white-knuckled there for a little bit. But you have prevailed 5 out of 5.
No, this administration definitely put a grip on my family and everything like that because, for 3 years, walking around with those 2 accusations.
Yeah.
And, having a liquor license, and everything else, it's listen, I know what's up, but, the general public, as we know, even with the social media aspect of it, everything else, there's always that, well, did he, didn't he, whatever. But fortunately, both judges with the 2 different cases, just straight up were like, yeah, nah, sorry. This is literally like high school BS. But the shameful part is the money that he wasted from the taxpayers because he's too much of a coward to face it himself. So every time that him and I have crossed paths, his mouth only moved when he had the police detail with him. Anytime I see him by himself, he's just like a church mouse. Doesn't say nothing, turns around, walks away, and everything else. So I like to question why he still even has that detail because, as far as I know, him saying that I was threatening him and his family, the judge said it didn't happen as of recent. So why does he still have that detail at the end of the day? And it's to protect him because he's able to yap his gums and no one can get near him because that police officer that's with him intervenes.
Yeah, he has that detail, John. because it's all part of the charade. It's all part of the, he thinks he's president or something of Atlantic City, and that's his Secret Service, protection detail. And he gets to sit in the back seat of a very expensive luxury taxpayer-funded SUV. It's all part of the big con. But that should be taken away because there is no purpose for it. It's not necessary. There are many, many scenarios where a mayor doesn't have anything like that in much probably more dangerous situations even than Atlantic City. But it's all part of the the perks as he sees them. Somebody drives him. He's got the whole the big man on campus thing. John, how tricky is it for you as a prominent business person, property owner, business owner in Atlantic City to take the strong positions that you've taken?
Harry, listen, I was taught from a young age, fight for what you think is right. For just about almost 3 years now, I've taken to the media platform, and as you said, no holds barred, laid out things that people should know from this side of the fence, not so much from listen, your hands are tied with what you do and what you can say and whatever. I don't have that. So listening to media people like you who've been around for a long time and whatever, and obviously having ears to the street, the investors in Atlantic City, the residents of Atlantic City need to know exactly what's going on, because I think for many years it's just been taken for granted. It's just like, whatever, let it roll. But I'm starting to see now people are being very cautious and mindful of what's going on. And, I don't put anything out there that I do not feel is remotely wrong. I might be a little bit off, but 90% of what I say or what I put out there is definitely in the most best direction possible, to where a professional or an investigator or whatever can just complete the sentence, but the outcome will still be the same, or the the understanding of it itself. So, all
right, let me do this, John. Hold on, don't go away. I don't know what your time will permit this morning, but George and I made a decision over probably 45 minutes ago. We're not going to do the official mental health break.
Well, no, we are. It's going to be shock therapy.
Yes.
Instead of
it's going to be a different version than we typically do. So, John, I want to invite you to participate next hour if your time permits. And if you stay on hold, I'll see that you're available. If you, I know you have a business to run. If you have to go, we will catch up another time. We're going to be joined at 9:05, 9:06-ish, right after the break, by Atlantic City Councilwoman LaToya Dunston. So don't miss it. There is a lot. Dateline Atlantic City that will continue. We'll be right back. Don't go away. And Atlantic City Councilman George Tibbett will be with us until the end of the program.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Honesty and transparency, is not afraid to get down and dirty and really just tell me the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. AGE. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And the WPG Talk Radio app. A $500 Visa gift card is up for grabs now on the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
It is a minute before the top of the hour. Let's give you a quick reset because this next hour is going to be just don't miss.
Shock therapy.
The next hour of the program. It's a mental health break, all right. Tibbett has called it shock therapy. Here's what's going to be happening. Don Hurley is going to join us, but not about music and memories. It will be about his own experience in terms of dealing with many, many controversies in Atlantic City over the years, and a lot of good things in Atlantic City over the years as well. We'll have Councilwoman LaToya Dunston, and this will be an unplugged appearance by the Councilwoman. Johnny X, John Exadactylis is the owner of the Ducktown Tavern and Liquors. 5-0 Johnny. He's undefeated in his run-ins with the mayor of Atlantic City. That would make the mayor 0-5.
Yeah.
So he'll be with us. Tibbet will be with us, and you. Don't go away. And also Van Drew, Congressman Van Drew at Stanley Holmes Village at 11:30. We'll be talking about that.
With WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes. From Harry Hurley Way and the world's playground to the Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
We are back, Councilman Tibbet, for the full hour. We're going to give John Exodactylis an opportunity to talk a little bit more because he didn't have much time in the last segment. That was just our time constraints. Councilwoman LaToya Dunston is going to join us. Don Hurley is going to join us. I do want to start with breaking news, and I don't have time to go into any detail. And to be fair, there's no detail to this. And I think some of the early reports are incorrect. The first report was that Scott McAfee, the judge in Georgia, had said that Fani Willis can stay on the Georgia case as chief prosecutor. That's not true. So those that are saying that, here is what appears to be the decision. It's not even out yet. This is an Atlanta Constitution newspaper leak of something they think they know. The judge appears to have ordered Chief Prosecutor Fani Willis to step down from the case. So that's very different language than what the liars are going to be telling you. There is another remedy, and it fits in with my prediction of what he was going to do. I said this guy was going to be creative and novel, and that because he used to work for Fani Willis and he's running for re-election in Fulton County, that he would do something very, very kind of novel, slick. He is evidently allowing her to remain as the chief prosecutor if she gets rid of Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. This much I can tell you, they're both not allowed to stay. So the judge kind of split the baby here, and it's a very poor decision, but it's like half a loaf. All right, let's continue with Councilman Tibbet and Johnny X. John, anything else that you didn't have an opportunity to share? Time is yours.
Well, real quick, Aaron, I want to go back to St. Patty's Day. Thank you to the committee. Thank you for the people that attended. Thank you to the sponsors and parade goers that participated and weathered the storm. If you don't mind, I want to plug a St. Patty's bar crawl. Julie Craig, who is awesome at putting on events, more on the island, AC, Margate, Ventnor. There is a 500-person bar crawl going to 6 locations. Nucky's, Santucci's, Good Dog, Wonder Bar, Vagabond, and here at Ducktown. We're all going to have Guinness, Coors, and Miller Lite specials. Obviously, the Irish whiskey with Tully and JMO. So if you didn't sign up, please do, or just swing past and come hang out and try to take advantage of this weekend's weather if you weren't happy with last weekend's weather. But thank you to Julie, who is a monster of an event planner who does everything top tier, and she spreads it to a lot of the local businesses on the island. So hats off to Miss Julie. She's awesome.
I was going to say in the last segment, John, I like the way you do your weekly coverage. You talk about a lot of good things that are happening in Atlantic City, and then you are not afraid to go to the belly of the beast and bring up what needs to be said. I think it's a good approach.
Well, I say, it's got to just, listen.
Balance it out.
Like the movie Scarface, you got two things, my word and the other thing. And you're not going to break both.
Yeah.
You just got to put out the correct and right information out there.
Yeah, Tony Montana also said, I always tell the truth, even when I'm lying. Go ahead, Councilman.
John, we're running out of time, so let's schedule you next Friday. We get you back on. We're off next Friday.
The following
Friday,
yes.
and continue this. Your show is taking off. It's amazing how what you and Harry do to get the word out. You seem to be two of the few that call balls and strikes, and we need more of it. So let's get you back on here again with us.
And listen, I still, and many of us who invest in AC still believe in it. You know, there's still always that one chance to be a resort destination mecca on the East Coast and nationally, rightfully so. You know, I'm not going to stop. I still empower people, but I'm not going to let someone make mistakes because, you know, there's a lot of money to be made, but also a lot of money to lose if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
good stuff, John.
Definitely. Guys, thank you.
Yep.
Keep it up as well. LaToya, good luck to you. I'm very confident with her and going to go through and be victorious. So, you know, hopefully we'll take down the beast one day. We'll see.
Well, in the process now, I really believe it. There's a lot going on that people don't even know about. This is not going to continue. I've been the person that's been steady for 32 straight years, telling you when Bob Levy wasn't going to be the mayor for very much longer, got lied about all during that time. There are a lot of things that are going on right now that just the public is not aware of. Better days, Councilman Tibbet, for Atlantic City are coming. I feel so comfortable about that.
From your lips to God's ears.
We're going to be right back. Councilwoman LaToya Dunston will join us next. And I'm really looking forward to this portion of our program. And Dom, we'll get to you, I promise, because I can't remember the last time somebody has been put through the meat grinder the way that LaToya Dunston has been put through the meat grinder and keeps winning. Taken off the line by Mike Suleiman, doing Marty Small's dirty work. Shame on you, Mike. You're listening. Shame on you. In court, going up against city attorneys. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on, and she just keeps winning. LaToya Dunston joins the program next. And a reminder, Councilman Jeff Andrew, while Marty Small does nothing for the people of Atlantic City at Stanley Homes Village and some of the other facilities in Atlantic City, Congressman Jeff Andrew has been stepping up time and time again. Steve Young, Congressman Van Drew, and others will be at Stanley Homes Village 11:30 today because they're actually trying to get things done to help the citizens of Atlantic City. See, that doesn't fit into the mayor of Smallville's plans. It's okay that for 2 straight years under his mayorship, people had no heat, no hot water, bugs, rodents, and he could care less. And I say that because all the money in the world is there for it not to be like this, and he allows it to continue.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Makes me think about things a little bit differently.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Ocean City.
EHT. Brigantine.
Mays Landing.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. It's 19 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program. There is so much going on at the national level. Later today, find me. I'm not in a position to tell you where I'm going to be, but find me. I'm not sending you on a scavenger hunt, but we will have a lot to say about this at the national level. Don Hurley will join us in the near future. We're now going to welcome to the program Atlantic City Councilwoman LaToya Dunston. LaToya, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I meant what I said right before the break. I think you have been put through a lot. You've experienced your opponent's attorney be someone who has a very sizable contract with the city of Atlantic City, somehow is allowed to be your opponent's attorney. I don't understand Judge Blee about that at all. What he needs to do is go buy lunch for Judge Rosenberger and have Judge Rosenberger teach him what a judge is supposed to do in things such as this, because Rosenberger got it right with Damon Tyner, who, of course, had to confess that he had a conflict of interest. But for some reason, your opponent has an attorney that can have a contract with the city, and they don't seem to feel this is a problem.
And you're absolutely right on everything that you said. I heard you say through the meat grind. I have been.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot going on in the city. And as you said before, it's a lot going on that people don't know. But when you have attorneys who receive contracts through the city, but me as a sitting council person is told you can't do anything or vote because you're conflicted, I shouldn't be conflicted. They should be conflicted.
Yeah, it's all backwards. It's all crazy backwards.
Right, and we've been in court since maybe July, I'll say. No, I don't have the resources or the funding to do this. I'm fighting against money. I'm fighting against power. I'm fighting against a lot of things. But one thing everybody do know is I'm a fighter, right? And when I say a fighter, meaning I'm going to do what needs to be done for the residents of Atlantic City and Atlantic County, because what affects Atlantic City affects the county.
No question about it.
And so on and so forth, right? Yeah. So what I will say is going to court and facing this attorney, and then the opponent was in court maybe once out of the entire time. But when I'm sitting there and I see other, we won't say names, elected officials at almost every court hearing, and then you having a sidebar, whether it's in the stairwell or the elevator with the attorney, but I know that this attorney has a contract with the city. It's almost like we hire the attorney and then they represent the opposite side. It does not make sense.
Well, it's not even permitted by the rules, and Judge Blee knows that. I mean, I tell you, he's got to be called out at some point. I'm the only one. I'm not saying you're not, because I think you did raise the issue. I'm the only one out there, though, in my lane, in the media, that's calling Judge Blee out. Look, I was a big fan of his, and he's losing me with this stuff he's been doing as of late. If Judge Rosenberger tells Tyner that you have a conflict of interest, don't you? Damon Tyner, yes, I do, Your Honor. Then certainly this other attorney does, because it's not even, it's the exact same scenario. It's two people that have contracts with the city of Atlantic City. George?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still baffled that why would you even come to court knowing you have a conflict attorney? So if Mr. Rosenberger didn't call it out, Judge Rosenberger, if he didn't call it out, he would have went through with it. This is what we're dealing with the city of Atlantic City. And it's a shame because we do have a lot of great attorney firms working for us, but when you bring bottom of the barrel people that'll do and say anything just for a contract, clearly they've shown it. And, you know, LaToya, I got to say, you are a role model for young women, all women out there, not backing down, fighting the fight, and the work that you do for the less fortunate and trying to guide people in the right directions, people that have made mistakes. You actually do the job that we're paying millions not to do.
I remember the videotape on Election Day when, Councilwoman Dunston, you were being attacked, verbally attacked. I mean, you've really stood up to all of this.
I wasn't expecting to record it. I wasn't expecting to see what I saw on Election Day.
Yeah, good thing you have it. Well, it's a good thing you have it, because they would have said it never happened.
Right, and I don't want to say too much because we do have trial coming up on the 25th or what have you, so I don't want to say too much, but...
Thank God you kept a copy of it, because it got lost.
But that wasn't the first time of me being attacked. It wasn't the first and it wasn't the last, let's just say that. And what I will say, even to whoever's listening to young, because I know they listening in the school and everywhere else they listening, but what I will say is, I am the voice for the voiceless. I will continue to fight for what's right. Not what's right for just me, but what's right for all. Because what's right for me got to be right for you, got to be right for you. And you know what? Enough is enough. And Judge Rosenberger did do his due diligence, and so Tyner, he couldn't do it, right? And then we go with Judge Blee, And Judge Blee, I guess, is getting to see. I'll say the last court date, the last date we just went to, I literally, and nobody knows this because it was only, me in the courtroom and a few others. I broke down in tears because it hurt. It did hurt that I've been going through this for months and months and months. And again, I don't have the resources. And I thank people who stepped up and helped. I thank Johnny X, if you're listening, I thank you because you reached out with open arms and said, LaToya, whatever I can do to help you, you'll help. I thank everybody. But what I will say is that when I discovered the encampment, it wasn't to make the media or do anything. They came to me to bring me the encampment, right? So it's my job to do something. I know we have a homeless czar, we have homeless programs, but I'll tell you right now in real time, you're the first to know this, Harry. I have a letter that was mailed to me from someone that was under the boardwalk and everything else. And what they're saying in this letter is heart-wrenching, knowing that we have funds out there for the homeless and everything else, but yet they're being pushed to the side. And then we'll go back to the attorneys. If you go back to the attorneys, I'll say that we don't hire attorneys to represent us in personal matters.
In Atlantic City, we do, it seems like.
Yeah. But they're there to protect the city of Atlantic City, not LaToya in a personal, whether it's bankruptcy, whether it's Harry for criminal charges. That's not what they're hired to do. We have a sitting council member who hired the same attorney that went against me, but yet he said he didn't hire him. You did.
Well, he's claiming the mayor hired him. He knew nothing about it. So they got to get their story straight. They can't. They
got to get their story straight because he did say to me, he said, Councilman, I never hired him. I don't even know him. Well, I don't know, but it says that he's representing you.
He don't know who his own attorney is.
Now, in your
but that's that fifth vote, Harry. That's you see how it is.
Of course, I see how it is. Councilwoman,
he's bought and paid for. Zia is a shame. He's a shameful person. He's bought and paid for. Cannot make a decision for himself.
Mm-hmm.
LaToya, with respect to your case, Marty Small has been in the courtroom many, many times during the various court appearances. Correct?
Correct.
And people witnessed Small talking to the attorney who was representing Vianna Bailey, your opponent, correct?
Correct.
Is there any doubt in your mind that Marty Small retained that attorney for Vianna Bailey?
No doubt in my mind. And I've been raising this issue for months, saying, hey, this guy got a contract with this.
And here's Blee knowing he sees these two talking to each other. He knows exactly what's going on, and he knows this guy has a contract. I'll tell you what, I guess this Blee is going to have to get some kind of ethics complaint filed against him.
Let's keep the faith that Blee does the right thing and makes the right decision, dotted all his I's and crossed his T's.
Judge McAfee just made a decision in 2 weeks on the President of the United States. Mm-hmm. Blee is taking 4 weeks to make a decision on a nothing burger that's already a certified election.
How do you think the people feel, though, really, when another person gets accused of something and then they drag LaToya into it? Oh, well, now I have to open that back case up. That bothered me.
Yeah, that bothered me. That tells me there's somebody's calling the shots here.
30-day delay, and they come to court and say that person had absolutely nothing to do with what's taking place here. But why would you do that anyway unless you had proof?
Let me give you some backstory. We've been in court. I mean, I'll say approximately over 100 people have been subpoenaed, whether they showed or not. The ones who showed said it wasn't no ill will. They voted the way they wanted to, whether it was for me or her, whatever, because we never got to that point. But what I will say, the last day of court, we got an email a day before, and they had video where the investigator, who was supposed to issue subpoenas but never did, was banging down the doors as if they was law enforcement. The sick, the poor, the indigent was the ones that was targeted. Everyone who was on that list either lived in housing authority, which is public housing,
Which they get scared they're going to get thrown out of.
Yep. Low income meaning Carver Hall or low income meaning Beck Maryland. They were all targeted. But what I did not see is people like from 1330 Mediterranean. They wasn't targeted. You know why? Because they knew they controlled those senior votes in that building through senior services.
So, in other words, he's going after people that he feels do not support him.
The vulnerable.
Yeah.
The one lady was in bed, in her sick bed.
Yeah, she was in bed, and she was in fetal position, balled up. And she clearly stated, she said, I don't know if I vote. She said, my mental is no longer there. I've been ill. My mental's not there. And I give credit to Judge Blee. I have to give him credit because Judge Blee did not accept the testimony. He did not. And when I looked, and I knew who the person was, but what they didn't know is that young lady, and I'm going to call it young lady that was balled up in fetal position, I had got a call from that very same building the night before. They didn't even have heat and hot water. But you're banging on her door about a vote, but when are we going to fix the other issue?
Do you anticipate, I mean, I know this is up to Blee to decide on, I think it's April 5th or something like that, which I don't understand. This is ridiculous that he needs a month after what I just explained. The guy in Georgia did, involving the highest office in the land, and he got his work done in 2 weeks. So it's kind of indefensible, but he'll take whatever time he wants to take, and he will. Do you anticipate prevailing?
You know what? I do.
Right's on your side.
Anticipate prevailing. You know why? Because I was the people's choice.
Yeah.
I was the voice for the voiceless, and they came out and they voted, whether it was 1 vote, 6 votes, or 30 votes.
I mean, LaToya, it's pretty incredible. You won off the line because Marty Small directed Mike Suleiman to take the incumbent councilwoman off the line. You beat the whole Marty Small machine, if there is even such a thing. And then he tried every remedy available, the contest phase. You beat that. And now Judge Blee decided in his infinite wisdom, oh, look, Craig Calloway is charged, and so I should take another look at this. I mean, there's no jurisdiction in the country where a judge would just reach back down and go grab an election that's already been certified.
And it's a primary election.
Yes.
We've already had a general. You already sat in the seat. And not to mention another one of his leaks in his camp. They're already planning to attempt a recall. So,
right.
All that city money's got wasted there.
Right. So they can't beat you. They cheat you. So it's really dirty. So, in other words, they couldn't beat you on election day. They couldn't beat you in the contest phase. So you continue to hold the seat and sworn in as the duly elected certified winner. And then when they lose this, then they're going to have to wait a year, and then they're going to try to get you again. So they're monsters.
Absolutely. And what I will say is, going back to the case, my case was, the investigators' whole case was based on, did they know Craig Calloway? Well, no. Some said Craig. The investigator said Craig. Then the next time he said Carl. I don't know who he was talking about. And he asked the one lady, do you know LaTanya? And the lady said, no, of course they don't know LaTanya because who is that?
Yeah. How about the house where there was no house there and they were at the wrong address?
They were at the
and
wrong
used it as evidence.
We pulled it up on Google Maps like, this is the house. It's still there. It's my neighbor. And then Harry, I have so many videos that could be shown through Discovery,
Yeah.
And it's just, everything was about Craig Calloway, and everybody that got on the stand said, no, Craig Calloway didn't force me to vote. No, Craig Calloway did not pay me. I voted for who I wanted to vote for, but the question remains, who said that Calloway worked for anybody?
Yeah, it was never in your case, never in any of your filings, nothing, but they based their whole case on Craig. So, better days are coming,
and
LaToya.
Then you got Craig fighting his cases, right? But on top of it, you got another city attorney who's representing the mayor in a case against Craig. You got to make it make sense. We hiring these lawyers to defend personal matters, and it's not fair. So when we talk about 13 years later, 13 years later, you're still fighting, and it's a waste of taxpayers' dollars. It is, because the taxpayers now are footing the bill currently for all the personal defense matters.
So, LaToya, you're telling me that the personal lawsuit that Craig and the mayor have against each other, Riley and Riley are still representing the mayor on that? I mean, Riley and Riley's top-notch law firm in the country, in the state, to be involved in this stupidity, especially when Craig has truth on his side.
And it is still Tracy Riley. It is.
Wow, I just read that 92-page FBI report from that last case. It appears 100% Craig has truth on his side.
We're a little bit late for the halftime break. Hang in there, LaToya. If there's anything you didn't get to share, we'll give you a closing comment when we come back. Steve Young is joining the program. Don Hurley will be joining the program. All that over the next 30 minutes straight ahead. Hurley in the morning with Atlantic City Councilman George Tibbett, Atlantic City Councilwoman LaToya Dunston. Hey, if I can find 3 more council members, I could create a quorum. Councilman Tibbett.
They'll file ethic charges.
Just 3 away.
Cop caller, the ones that call everybody cop callers are the secret snitches.
We'll get 4. We'll keep it under 5. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay with us.
The WPG Talk Radio app is everything South Jersey on your phone and in your car through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Local news, weather, and information updated around the clock from New Jersey's largest radio news team. Easy access to WPG podcasts and more. Powered by Smokers Haven. You'll find the finest selection of cigars at any of their 5 locations. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. Visit SmokersHavenNJ.com. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
Cut the BS and let's just get to the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
It's 42 minutes past the hour. Let's give LaToya Dunston, Councilwoman from Atlantic City, a closing comment. Then we'll bring Steve Young into the program, and we'll close out the program with Don Hurley and George. Councilwoman, closing comment for today.
Yes, I will make a closing comment and say that I've always been, again, the voice for the voiceless. That's been me. Everything always been earned, not given. But what I will say, for the record, that our city is very small. We're dealing with 48 blocks. And what I say is either you're connected, you're neglected, you're affected, or rejected. The people of Atlantic City got to figure out which one are you.
I like that. All right, let's keep in touch. Good wishes. If there's anything fairness, if anything remotely resembling fairness still exists, you've had to win your seat about 4 times. I guess you're going to have to win it a 5th time.
Absolutely, because they already talking about a recall. So yeah.
That'll be 6. All right, LaToya, take care. See you now. Joining us now, Steve Young, just a little bit from now, 11:30. Congressman Van Drew, you have to give credit to, because all the local presence is there, the money is there, and yet they allow people to stay in horrible conditions. I wonder if people can appreciate what it must be like in the cold of winter to be freezing cold, not even have a working stove, microwave, what are those things called, a heating cooktop thing, making food with that, having no hot water for yourself, for your children, your grandchildren, and all the money in the world is there. Giving out all these contracts, not getting the job done, unbelievable. 11:30 today, Congressman Van Drew will join with Steve Young and others. Steve, let's give you an opportunity to comment on this. Go.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you very much for all that you do, because it wasn't for you as radio and communicating with the resident. And Congressman Van Drew is the only elected official nationally that has been supporting the residents. Most of the elected officials here have not even knocked on the door. And it's just sad, and something is wrong with that. But I want to personally thank you. I want to personally thank Charmaine Hall, who's a resident commissioner, Eli, who's a resident commissioner, Michelle Post, some of the things he did, Spotlight News, Councilman LaToya Dunston, Councilman George Tippett, and former executive of Atlantic City House Board Mark Dowdy, and some residents. That's what the unity and information that we gave to our congressperson. He's a man of his word. He said he was coming in November, and he's here.
Yeah.
I cannot name another person from president on down and people need to respect him for what he's doing. So I just wanted to say that. He'll be here at 11:30, meet with the Stanley Home Village residents, and we will also be going to visit some of the houses as well.
Steve, can you do me a favor? You've always done this because I'd like to follow up on this with a piece that we will write probably early tomorrow morning. If you could send me the usual update that you send me, I would love to be able to share with all of our readers exactly what took place today.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Councilman Tibbet. I don't know what we would do without you. We've asked the local officials to do their part and just have hearings on this, but it's some type of cover-up or something going on. But you know what happens, though? All the way to the top in Washington, D.C., the Secretary of HUD, Marsha Fudge, who we've been trying to hold accountable, as well as Councilman Van Drew, has resigned. Yeah. That's the power of
2 days ago, yeah.
Wow.
That's the power of the people.
God, I've written her name so many times. Well, guess what? You can't do worse than they've been doing. So this hopefully it has to mean it's going to be better, I hope.
Well, we're going to Washington, D.C. on the 28th, and we're going to give an update and let everybody know where we at this issue.
All right, Steve, keep in touch.
Thank you very much.
Good to talk to you. Thanks. We're going to get our final break in. Don Hurley will close out the rest of the program. We're going to have 12 minutes, I think, uninterrupted. We'll make it count. Councilman Tibbet, yours truly, Hurley in the Morning, joined by Don, coming up right after this.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Established, reputable.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
Federal authorities are spying on conservatives. They were just exposed for pressuring banks to look for transactions with keywords like MAGA, Trump, and Bible. This is not the America I know. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I am deeply concerned about the tyranny I see in Washington. And this is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs, because they offer tangible financial security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. To find out more, text the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or your 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs. That's PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Hurley in the Morning.
They really do separate fact from fiction.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We're back 52 minutes past the hour, 14 minutes. Let's make it count. Don Hurley, this is some kind of official mental health break, isn't it?
Well, sometimes, Harry, I think I heard George say mental health does require
shock therapy.
Giving people the hard truth, once in a while. So,
all right, so let me do this, and please, you're too honest to try to pull an okey doke. Judge McAfee did not make a decision that makes your prediction that I played off of yesterday does not make your prediction correct. McAfee ruled that Fani Willis is ordered to step down. However, he crafted a gutless remedy that if she gets rid of special counsel Nathan Wade, she can stay. She will be appealed, or he will be appealed, and he will be overturned.
Now, I'm going to take the win on this one, Harry, because he did not disqualify her, which is what you said.
Well, he actually did. He ordered her to step down, but if she gets rid of Nathan Wade, it's worse than that. It's a gutless decision where I think because he's running for office, he tried to craft something that is totally incoherent. It's actually psychotic, and I've heard a lot of people like Jonathan Turley already, they're just ripping it because how can Wade compromise the case but Willis does not?
Well, the conflict always requires more than one person, so it's a joke. But here's the point I'm getting at, Harry. this is exactly what I expected, because if you look at the beginning, the way that he allowed Fannie Willis to conduct herself in his court, it was the most contemptible conduct I think I've ever seen in a courtroom, Harry. So I knew he was beholden to her. So I knew he was never going to, rule against her completely.
Well, he worked for her. As you know, he worked under her. He contributed to her campaign, and he crafted something to try to save her any embarrassment that he could.
Well, I don't know why they never moved to recuse him, because from the beginning I said this guy, he's a financial contributor to her political.
Well, keep in mind, this is better for Trump than if he had gotten just a clean win. This is a mess. It's a hot mess. And now nothing can happen in the Georgia case pending his appeal. So his appeal is going to be very strong. Now, if a corrupt court above that does the same thing, then he's just got to keep appealing, because there's clearly, and here's the best news, McAfee ruled on the appearance of conflict part of the statute and not having to have an actual conflict. This makes it even more that his decision is wrong.
Oh, sure. And his decision reflects why he never should have been involved with this case from the beginning. It was just conflicted all the way across.
I mean, these two people had 12,000 points of contact prior to them admitting that they had a relationship, 10,000 text messages. I mean, they're going to be lucky if they don't wind up with criminal charges.
Well, and even in his, his throwing out the baby with the bathwater decision, he admits like there was untruthful. He doesn't say perjury, but that's untruthful testimony under oath. I mean, someone's going to, somewhere is going to have a problem with that. I think, their problems are way beyond trying to improperly get Donald Trump. They've got big problems.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is why would a prosecutor want to stay on a case with all of this heat and light and being made the issue? Why would you even want to stay on a case like this, even if you could?
Well, because it's nothing about justice. You have to remember, Harry, I know you know this, but all these theaters, these kabuki theaters that they create, and it's really a frustrating time because we've never had more access to information, and just so much of it is just intentionally wrong, false. But this kabuki theater, only has to last until November. They don't care. They just want to beat Trump. They know he can never run again if he's not successful this time. They just have to, keep this ball up in the air until November and see if they can try to beat him.
And by the way, I think he's going to win, but don't put past him that he would run in 4 more years. And I still don't know another Republican. It would be tougher, and people would run. He could win again in 4 years. I don't think it's going to come to that. All right, let's go back to the local level. George, let's make sense of everything that was discussed today.
Well,
it was a lot.
I think we've proven without a doubt that city attorneys are being misused, or city attorneys that have contracts at the city are definitely being misused.
What do you think is going to happen with that? You have Judge Rosenberger, who's calling balls and strikes and got it right. You have Judge Blee, who purposely is getting it wrong, and I don't know. This is not in character of the Blee that I've known for such a long time, but he's screwing up lately. A friend that I trust wrote me that I'm 100% wrong about Blee. I wrote back, well, I didn't write like how could I be wrong, but let me read to you what I wrote back. I wrote back to this friend of mine, not on his recent behavior, I'm not 100% wrong. How does he allow an attorney with a city contract to represent a client in a city council challenge case? Question mark. But come on. I mean, how can I be I might be wrong,
well, listen,
but how can I be 100% wrong? Blee has done that.
I got a great deal of respect for the man as a judge, but I just looked at yesterday. Did you see that mayor of Philadelphia? She's awesome, man.
Oh, yeah.
She's off to a good start. There will be no finances for any needle exchange in the city of Philadelphia. The law clearly stated that the local municipality in New Jersey can cancel the needle exchange. What did they do? They put it on hold. He put a stay on it. And then the government, that guy that you don't even see around no more, John Armato, pull some crafty where now you can't even get rid of the needle exchange program. And has it changed on the city streets? Do you see needles everywhere?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the thing I didn't like when he did that, because it really hurt, because when you live in the city 24/7, you don't get a break from this. You see it every day. You go to the store, you go out to eat, you take your kid for a walk, you go for a bike ride. You see this stuff. These people get to go home. Yeah. They only see you for 2-3 hours a day, barely any days a week. We live it. So sometimes your heart gets a little harder, but to solve the problem, you got to take emotion out of it.
It's a great
people
comment.
are putting emotion and, more importantly, the financing of the grant. And that one day when they called council, and I counted over 30 people working in that brick building on Tennessee Avenue, I'm like, how's it? Where you people all sit? That all you have jobs. So it came clear to me. This is a grant issue. Where people are making so much money off of it.
Really important comment.
But I had
George.
to put that out there because I really like this woman in Philadelphia. I like what she's doing so far.
Well, she ran as a change agent that knew that Philly has to be. It's a city of brotherly love. You know, you can't have shootings and stabbings and all this stuff that they've been having, and we have a mini version of this in Atlantic City now.
No. We have a mini version of Tiffany Hayward out of Illinois is what we got. I swear they were separated at birth.
There you go, and I appreciate that from what you shared about her in the past. Don, let me ask you to draw on experience that you've had in the past. You have been involved in a lot of cases involving ethics complaints and different things like that. Where do you get a determination that somebody that has a city contract is not able to represent a client in another case where it involves city business? I mean, that's obviously, like Judge Rosenberger got it correct. He called out Damon Tyner. He did it. He was very elegant with how he did it, and he got Tyner to basically self-report himself. Blee is on purpose, to quote Angelo Dundee, you're blowing it, kid. You're blowing it. Why is he allowing an attorney with a more than six-figure contract with the city of Atlantic City to represent an opponent in a city council election challenge case? I can't understand it.
Well, especially when you look at the history, and I've seen judges remove themselves and lawyers for such small, de minimis conflicts, and these are huge conflicts of interest. I mean, you can't serve, they say right in the statute, you can't serve two masters.
Yeah, so I want to call Blee and say, Blee, are you a knucklehead or are you the good judge that I think you are? Stop it. What are you doing? What are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? But instead, is there a legal remedy to challenge what's been going on here? Because, Councilman Tippett, it's multiple attorneys that we're talking about.
Well, you're hearing...
I've heard three just today.
Three, and it's not just Judge Blee's thing. It's all different courts that they're in, that someone has got to step up and say, this is an abuse of city resources.
So what?
Well, you know what's good? You know what's good, you guys? It's great we live in America still. Anyone with the knowledge of the facts of a case can sign a complaint. You'd be amazed. You just need to have, the people talk about standing and this and that. The knowledge is the standing. So someone that has the knowledge that something is going wrong here, it doesn't have to be even the councilwoman who's been aggrieved by this. Someone with the knowledge of the facts sees a conflict. I happen to know, how many times I sat in meetings and I had a certain knowledge, and there were times I had to act on it, and I filed complaints for conflicts of interest. Go to the bar. You go right to the Atlantic County Bar, and they have a whole unit that has to handle it. They have to respond. They don't always do what you think they should do, but at least it gets a scrutiny to it. And really what I think you were saying earlier, Harry, if someone realizes they're going to be held accountable, they might conduct themselves differently.
Yes. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I believe he's going to make the right decision. I believe he's being extra cautious. We don't like it, but...
But he had no reason to even bring that back up.
I don't think so, but I thought he would have ended it sooner, but I get it. He wants to be extra careful with this stuff, but this conflict of interest thing is definitely... All right, so it appears to be criminal to me, these attorneys. How this isn't... I just believe that they're giving enough rope for everybody.
Look, I love that you give Judge Blee, all the due respect and comments. I don't have a single problem, George, with anything that you just said. Why is he allowing an attorney that he knows has a city contract to be on that case? Why is he allowing that?
Harry, that's the one that's the head scratcher.
Because he's doing that on purpose. Because he knows
scratching your head on the fact that he entered himself into a case where there was no complaint from either side. He just enters himself. And I did a lot of research into this. It's not done. It's just not done. Judges don't conduct themselves that way.
Right. You'd have to have a case get filed, and then he agrees to hear the case. He's the assignment judge. Great, great. No problem. But, yeah, he pulled this one out himself.
Well, I believe that people in law enforcement are just given all the rope in the world right now. And when they come, they're going to put a stop to all this all at once. The stuff that's taking place, like these three lawyers that have contracts with the city, which mean they represent LaToya, me, and the mayor.
They should
and
have
now they're working against us.
They should have all had bar ethics complaints filed against them. All of them.
I'm shocked with Riley and Riley because they're top notch. They're top notch a law firm, and like I said,
but
Harry, I gave you a copy of the 92-page FBI report on that.
Somebody gave the word. It appears to me that what usually wouldn't be allowed to be done, just don't worry, just do it. Because why are they all doing it?
Because it's a shame because LaToya don't have the funds to appeal it if it goes the wrong way.
Well, maybe people would step up and a defense fund would be put together. Quite an interesting morning.
Yeah, it sure was.
Find me later. I'm not in a position to advertise my whereabouts, but find me later. I'll be around, and we're going to be talking about Judge McAfee, about Fannie Willis, about Nathan Wade, about all of this and a whole lot more. Councilman Tibbet, thank you.
Thank you, Harry, for having me.
Yep. Brother Don, have a great day.
Take care, everybody. Good weekend.
Way to go. Don, I want to give you the victory, but McAfee did such a strategic political thing. He didn't give anybody a clean win. Here's Brian Kilmeade.